Ababa. Obaba. Ababa. Heyo! Hello. Hi, Julia. Buenos noches. And hi, Brian. Welcome. It's Lore Friday. Ayo, hi, Lord Penguin. Welcome to Lore Friday. Not that I'm gonna do this every Friday because that doesn't make any sense. But welcome to Friday. How was you guys' Friday? TGIF? Thank goodness it's Friday. Yep. It's a day. I'm glad it's Friday though, because now it's a weekend and now I can work some more on my stuff. At least I hope so. Oh yeah. I was tired. I was tired the rest of the morning. Well, the rest of the week actually. I got a decent amount of sleep last night, but not like the rest of the week. So oopsies. Relaxing Friday for you. Oh, great, Ryan. That's good. Good. I should be announcing that I'm live stuff here on Twitter. It was Ed, they will lurk while trying to nap more. Oh, okay. I'll try not to be too bombastically loud, but no promises because I tend to be a little bit loud and yappy. But a wheelie. Good in the job, finished the emergency project. Now I'm making memes. Good. Man, I finished my stuff that I needed to finish today at work, so I'm doing good. I bet my boss is gonna be like, you need to finish this by this week as well, and I'm like, oh no. And my boss demands such things from everyone. Consume it if you want, that's fine. Thank you, I take that as an invite. One continuous scream usually doesn't do anything, right? It's about being very soft to the point that people have to lean in or raise the volume somewhat on their headphones, and then you scream. That's what makes the difference. Continual loud volume, people could, take care of that. Oh, but no. You gotta surprise them. You gotta hit them with the 1, 2, quiet, and then, ah! Anyways. Did I catch you guys? Did I catch you guys off guard? I'm so smug. I'm so proud of myself. The screams are musical. Oh, why? Out of context, the quote, so the screams are musical, kind of sounds a little deranged. Like one of those serial torturers or whatever would be like, the screams of my victims, music to my ears. Out of context, it sounds bad, but I know what you mean. Unless you are a one of those people who have people trapped in your basement, in which case I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I don't want to be complicit in any crimes. If you are, don't tell me. I don't have the moral compass to put you away. I just like unique sounds. Oh, scream! My scream is very unique. Yeah, I don't think so. I scream in English. I scream and that's a screaming cat. You think I have money to have a basement? I don't know. Maybe it's a communal basement on in a flat with multiple people, all paying amenities for the basement. Not that I would know. I'm in the Pacific Ocean, the Ring of Fire. There's no basements here. No basements allowed in the Ring of Fire. Some people still do though, which is very okay, I guess. You wanna do the thing, you wanna be bold and living on the edge, that you will build a basement on the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire, for those who don't know, is the tectonic plate ring around the Pacific Ocean, which is prone to volcanoes and earthquakes. I live in Chile. I'm in the Ring of Fire. So you don't have basements. That makes sense. Because I don't have basements either. Have I ever seen a basement? Technically, I guess. There's some townhouses that have like semi-basements, you know? Like it's like half of it's underground and like there's a little window at the top near the ceiling that reaches out to street level. I think one of my parents' family friend, rich friends, had a townhouse that had a basement once. I remember playing DDR because they had a DDR system on the PlayStation. I think the original PlayStation 2, not even PlayStation 2. No, the original PlayStation, comma, TOO2, not PlayStation 2 as in the number 2. It was the original PlayStation. I lived 2 earthquake over 8.0. Oh my gosh. Have I ever lived over earthquake over that long? I remember like a 5.6, maybe like close to a 6.0. I don't think I've experienced any 8.0s unless it's like really far away and then we just hear the little shake. But no, not really. But they always talk about the big one, right? I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I cannot deal with the big old earthquake. Oh, that is a Tuesday. What do you mean that's a Tuesday? Oh, hi Tuesdays, welcome in. What are we doing? We're reacting to some Hollow Knight lore videos. So I've got 3 queued up, but of course there's gonna be more to do. Right now we're talking about earthquakes and the fact that me and Julia both live on the Ring of Fire and we're in danger. And the fact that we don't have basements because we live on the Ring of Fire. But then I remembered just when I played yesterday. Good. I think I saw your clip. Very cute art. I love the bee place. I love the bee. I want to be a bee. Except for I don't look good in yellow, so maybe not. But you live by the what of fire? The Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire, for people who don't know, is the circle of tectonic plate faults around the Pacific Ocean, where it's prone to earthquake and volcano activity. You would die if you stung someone. Yeah, that's true. I'm superior to a bee. I could sting someone perpetually forever. Hi, Noel. Hello. Happy Friday. Oh, happy Friday to you too, Deucet. I'm like, so my cat's meowing. No wonder you're a dry jelly. What do you mean I'm a dry jelly? I'm not. Well, that's not true. I was just complaining the other day that my skin has been really dry ever since coming back from Japan because, like, I would shower every day because, you know, I do exercise by walking a lot and I'm always like stinky at the end of every day in Japan because, you know, touristing. And then I shower every day. But unfortunately, I have the condition that I'm extra dry. If I shower every day, it strips my natural oils and then I get dry. So once I came home and I came back to my normal schedule of showering every other day-ish, my skin was like cracking. It was like powdering. I would scratch my eyebrow and dead skin would rain down into my glasses and then I can't see. Oh no, powder jelly. Yes, powdered jellyfish. Exercise in this economy? Hey, exercise is free. Well, not that. Well, going to Japan isn't free. It was actually quite a lot of money, but you can exercise at home. Oh yeah, I'm confused with the Land of Fire down in South America. Oh, I've never heard of that one. No. Like Jello. Oh. Like gelatin. Like imagine if you take a scoop of Guumi and you put it in like your baked goods or something to make Jello cake. Guumi cake. Ooh. Yeah, but I've been super dry. My chin's been super dry. The sides of my mouth has been like super dry. You can see like the powdery white texture on your skin when you're like super dry and like the skin's coming off. Hi Gerard, welcome in, and hi Reeb, hello. How's it going? It's going good. We're doing the little pre-yappening before the React content. This is my first time doing React content. I'm hoping I don't have to unarchive this video because, you know, sometimes people don't like you using their content, reusing their content, reacting to the content. But I'm hoping to add some editorialness so that I don't have to take the video down. But we'll see. It's an island of Chile and Argentina. Oh, land of fire. Interesting. So that means they have a lot of active volcanoes and fires? I feel like. The Jello just have her face and everything giggles. Oh my gosh. It would get annoying real quick if everything giggled. I come into the stream and all I hear is, what if I took a scoop of Guumi? No, we're talking about if I powderified, because I've been saying that I was dry. I'm like super dry, my skin's dry, everything is dry. And what if you just powder me like one of those energy drink powders? Take a scoop of me and put it in your drinks and put it in your baking. I will make your dish viscous, just like if you put gelatin in your stew. You probably don't need gelatin in your stew. Your stew probably already has gelatin. No idea. Yeah. Yes, my cat is hungry. His food comes out at 7:30. I should change it to actually 7 so that he doesn't bother me when I stream. Back when I used to start at 8 p.m., it was fine when his food comes out, you know, at 7:30. But now that I start at 7, he's been interrupting the quality of the stream. We need to follow Popo's example. Just demand Guumi. I can't. No, I don't know how to feed you guys. I could like have you feed me. Nom 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 nom. So that makes you unhungry, right? Because if I eat you, you're no longer hungry. That's how that works. It's fine. Yeah, and then you just reincarnate as a different shape of snack, and then you're fine. Respawn so it makes sense? Exactly. You respawn with a full stomach. That's how I feed chat. I eat you guys, nom nom, and then you reincarnate as someone who isn't hungry. Perfect. I think that this is a good system. We're creating mass, by the way, which is against the laws of physics. But that means you guys don't have calories. Ooh, perfect 0-calorie snacks. That is chat. Oh, Popo wouldn't be happy about 0-calorie snacks. That means it's not filling. So we're casually breaking reality. That's how it works. As a magical girl jellyfish, that's how it works. Yeah. Magical girl. And so we're gonna be able to like do things against the laws of nature and the laws of physics and the laws of chemistry and the laws of the county, like jaywalking. I can legally jaywalk. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Whoever's watching the stream, don't report me. What? Yeah, the rules of the state, the rules of the county does not apply to me. That's not true. Shut up. Throw a jellyfish at a wall and see it all break. What? Oh, don't throw a jellyfish against the wall. That's rude. There's J-pop, J-food, and now get ready for jail. It's J-ale. Just straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. Jaywalking. Oh. No, straight to jail. Jail. Yeah, exactly. I mean, not being able to break the laws of physics is a skill issue on your part because I can do it. And if breaking the laws of physics is the hardest thing to accomplish and I can accomplish it, that means everything else is easy, right? So breaking the laws of the land should be a lot easier. Drink that Japanese ale? Yeah, exactly. Oh, except for I didn't drink anything in Japan. I took a little sippy sip of like some local craft beer once. I didn't really drink. Not a drinker. Except for the times I do drink. Like when I do those drinking streams, members only drinking streams. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Like and subscribe and then become a member if you want to see me drunk. I have a couple drinking streams already. I need to do another drinking stream, but like I need to exercise more. I also do exercising. Members Ring Fit streams. And then the snacks will rise? No! You can't rise. You're not allowed. You guys are like half an inch tall. Or 1 inch. I don't actually know. It depends. You guys are between a half an inch to 1 inch tall. Because it fits in my mouth. And you cannot rise up because you guys are too small to rise. So we can't get up from our seats. How will we get water if we don't rise? I will dump water on you. I will waterboard you affectionately. Oh dear, how long is an inch? It's about 1 1/3 centimeters, I want to say. I don't quite remember, but look at a ruler or something. Oh, yes, exactly. I waterboard you guys. Boop, blip, blip, blip. Because you guys are only a little bit, right? So 1 drop of water is plenty to hydrate you guys. Even more. You guys could share a single drop of water. I go blip, 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 blip. And then like you guys will go like baby bird look up on at the sky going yeah, give me water, wah wah. Before a low reaction, like we share our brains. So educational before a low reaction, before like we share our brains. Oh yes, of course. Except for this one's mine, the one on top of my head. You guys can't have it. It should be 2.5 centimeters. Is it 2.5? It's more than 2. I don't think so. 1 centimeter is 2 centimeters is not less than an inch. No way. Centimeters are small? Really? Oh my god. Let me see. I'm 163 centimeters, but I'm about 5'4". I'm rounding up. 5 feet more. But I am technically, by doctor's definition, 163. Those are foot. Feet? For free? That number means nothing to me. Okay. I don't understand anything either. My parents told me a little bit about centimeters and Celsius because you know we come from China, but not much. No idea. 1 inch equals 2.54. Oh man, I need to recalibrate my inner thingy-majig. My inner measurements, because I know about how much an inch is, and my phone, my Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus, is about 6.5 inches. And so if I need to measure like about a foot, I just do 2 phones and then minus an inch, and that's how I calculate things with my eye holes. Anyways, I don't care how a meter looks like either. I need a reference to feel it out. Oh, a meter is just like a couple inches more than a yardstick. And if you remember how much a yardstick is, because as a child you kind of played around with a yardstick, right? If you were in school and you have a yardstick, of course you're gonna whack people with it because it's a stick and it's a yard and you could whack people. So I wasn't a violent child. What are you talking about? I didn't. You didn't. Oh my gosh, not violent enough. I was a kid being whacked. Oh. Maybe I would have bullied you. The metric system is better since it measures it scales the easier, I guess. Better for conversions in your head for sure. But do you know what they look like with your eye holes? Okay, by the way. Oh, okay. So that means you can bully people. No idea what you're talking about? Just whack, like a meter stick or a yardstick. You know, you use them in school. You just whack them. Just whack. Whack. Whacking someone with a ruler really makes like a really satisfying sound, you know? It's all about getting used to it. Exactly. I can't wear gummy snack. You said we can't rise. Yeah, exactly. So it's fine. I could bully you guys. It's fine. A little bully will not hurt anyone. Did you like smack nice? No, I used my hand. I clapped with my hand, just like a smack. One hand against the other. I can't do that with my mouse. Like. I don't know how to make that sound with my mouth. Nope, that's a pop sound. There's the image of that guy, that's true. That sound was perfect, like... Nope, that's not it, right? That sounds a little low. Anyways, I think it's time. We get to the reactions. I'm just gonna start with this one video that's called Hollow Knight's Backstory Explained in Under 4 Minutes. We're getting the Cliff Notes version first, and then we'll get to a longer video. There we go. In the meantime, you guys could tell me your favorite lore tidbit on Hollow Knight. And you can answer it using that Q&A, and then I'll get to it later. Let's just make sure that the background music is low, and then I turn on that sound. Let's just test if the sound is okay. You know that everything else is good. That was a good enough sound. Was that loud enough?
Hollow Knight is a game about a bug in chains and an egg and a...
Yep. Sorry, who made the video? This video is made by Cardboard Head, HED. Let's actually make the capture window a little smaller so you guys can see the name of the video. Yeah, at the very bottom. Hollow Knight's Backstory Explained in Under 4 Minutes. This is by Cardboard Head. I can hear it? Perfect. Okay, good. Let's see. Oh, let's start. Oh. Popo, your food's coming out in 5 minutes. Anyways, let's get started, shall we? Oh yeah, I need to put away my hood so you guys can see better.
Hollow Knight is a game about a bug in chains and an egg in a temple in a cave in a well in a town in a kingdom in the minds of men in Australia.
What? Wait! Bun chain, eggs, temple, underground, hollow nest. Mines in Australia? Excuse me? So, Team Cherry's Australian, is that how that goes? That's part of the Lord's canon?
A long time ago, there were bugs that lived deep underground who worshipped a black fluid that's alive called the void. They all died. Much later, there was a civilization of moths ruled by a big orange moth god called the Radiants. The Radiants controlled bugs through a hive mind. Then a shiny worm came along and told everyone that hive minds were dumb. He gave all bugs intelligence, and he was so shiny and cool that even the moths were like, hey, screw you, Radiants.
Wait! He got me with that. Why do you think of so many bugs and jellyfishes? Oh no. So, are you saying that this worm was Satan and the Radiance is God and the worm gave the bugs free will just like Satan, and everyone who got free will went like, screw you, God? Is that how that works?
And forgot about them. He shed his giant worm body, was reborn as a bug-sized bug, founded the kingdom of Hallownest, and was known as the Pale King. Mantises were already intelligent and didn't really care about the Pale King. He agreed not to mess with them as long as they kept Deep Nest under control. The bugs in Deep Nest were so brainless they stayed that way and kept being gross bugs even under the Pale King's brainy influence.
So those bugs were still dumb. So the Deep Nest, that's why Deep Nest was so unsettling. No one was smart. I think it was the other way around because the worm didn't promote a hive mind. Yeah, free will is the opposite of hive mind. Isn't that it? Oh yeah, the mantis are cool. This Pale King dude was the worm. So getting it straight, that bug, that normal bug was a worm. But a worm is not really a bug. A worm is a invertebrate. It's different. Even though this is literally wild, yeah.
The bugs in Greenpath worshipped a slug named Un because he made cool plants. They joined the kingdom of...
Who was Un? Did I ever see Un? Excuse me? Also, noob, they are beasts because they are normal animal. Is anything in this world normal? I don't think so. Did you ever get the slug charm? I don't think so.
Hallownest, but kept thinking Un was a cool guy. Mushrooms,
cool.
Yes, I know mushrooms aren't bugs, welcomed the Pale King's rule because he could see the future, apparently. The Pale King set up shop in the White Palace and had 5 great nights and a whole ton of...
Sad night, acid night, queen's night, spelled wrong, poop night. I remember this guy. This guy's I don't remember who he is, but I remember this. I don't remember the rest. I think I remember poop night, but I don't remember the rest of these guys. You could heal and move with as a slug. Oh yes, the 5 nights you skip a lot of things. I did? No way. I thought I discovered almost everything. There was nothing on the map that was like, you know, there's more. Look, there's an empty part of the map. No, everything in the map was pretty much filled up. Cooking is cool, the dung defender. Senna is the French bug that gives you the flower quest. Oh, that guy that I immediately broke his flower. Oopsies. I'm not seeing the acid night. Oh, really?
A ton of cool stuff happened. Then someone saw a statue of the Radiants and started dreaming about them. Through the dreams of bugs, the Radiants started to regain the hive mind and pull more bugs into mindlessness again. The Pale King said, oh damn, and tried to find a solution. The solution he came up with is a little convoluted. Since the Radiants spread through the dreams and minds of bugs, he figured that if he made a bug with absolutely no thoughts or mind or dreams of any kind, that he could trap the Radiants inside.
Wait! We're literally brain empty? Is that what it was? That's why we're called the Hollow Knight. Because our head is empty. We were big head empty energy. That's why. Oh my gosh. So that's why. We're a prisoner. We're a coffin. We're a vessel. Wow. Didn't you see when we were rising? You had to connect with the void. What's the void again? The radiance? I saw the guy mention something about the void, but like I don't know anything about the void. We are the Hollow Knight. Yeah, we own the Hollow Knight. No mouth to cry out, no mind, no pain. The black goo. Did we see a black hole?
He experimented with the void and figured that the best way to solve the problem was to make a living being that was part void and part bug. With the help of his wife, the tree lady, he made 1 million void babies trying to find—
He had a wife? The Pale King screws and has wife? Excuse me? Hi, Toby. Welcome in. Happy Friday. I didn't know bugs practice monogamy, let alone marriage. Talk with her like 10 minutes. I did. I remember the lady. I did not realize that was a wife.
And the perfect one that was completely hollow to trap the radiance inside. There were a ridiculous amount of failures, and he threw them all in a pit called the Abyss.
Oh, I remember the
He
Abyss.
thought he had succeeded. He named his child the Hollow Knight and trapped the radiance inside of his empty mind. For good measure, he chained the
Oh, that's how he got the moth mommy inside his imagination. Oh, his dad gave him that kink. Wait, that's not appropriate. Don't inherit kinks from your father. What? What do you mean, what? Yeah, because why else would you dream about a big moth mommy?
the Hollow Knight up in the Black Egg. The Black Egg was sealed by 3 Dreamers, prolific bugs in the kingdom of Hellenest who sacrificed the rest of their lives to guard the Hollow Knight to keep the Radiance at bay. The 3 Dreamers were Lurian, Monomon, and Hera. Lurian the Watcher was a telescope—
Wait, what was that? Go back. Go back. Go back. What is that frame? Am I the only one who always thought Monomon was the dreamer with 1 eye hole? You know, because mono means 1. Get it together, Team Jerry. His dad gave him that kink. Wait, I'm lost. No, don't be lost. He was containing in a dream within him, like the guardian trapped you in a dream at the top before you get the dream nail. I tried to be quiet, but my family heritage got inherited in my— What do you mean, Lord Penguin? No, because the moth mommy is like something that people are into, right? She's big and goth moth, and she's a mommy.
Lurian the Watcher was a telescope enthusiast who lived in the City of Tears. He was a big fan of the Pale King and didn't need much convincing. Monomon was a jellyfish who was so keen on the seal that they gave them—
I didn't realize this one was a jellyfish, but I guess it makes sense. There was a lot of jellyfish in that area. Hi, Luminary. Hello. This kind of makes sense, though. True. Can we stop by the horny for the moth? No. I'm not horny for the moth. No, it was just a giant lady that's very powerful. I think people are into that. I just joined. Yes. What's the lore so far? A battle of parental custody between the Radiance and the Pale King, apparently, for the rest of everyone else's mind. But apparently they like people that have no mind. That's what I'm getting from this.
their mask to their apprentice Quirrell. Thus, Monomon's seal could only be broken by a bug who was cool enough to impress this guy. Hera the Beast was the queen of deepness and was such a freak that she agreed to become a seal
Oh, she's
as
a
long as
freak!
the Pale King would have a child with her. She knew
What?
that since worms are basically gods, her kids would be an absolute bloody legend, and so Hellenist's Princess Hornet was born. The Hollow Knight—
Oh!
gods, her kids would be an absolute bloody legend, and so Hellenist's Princess Hornet was born.
Oh! So, we're half siblings. Oh! Okay. Even Popo was impressed. Yeah, exactly. The food just came out. I don't know what he's talking about. Popo, you already ate. Go shoo. That makes sense. Whatever her name was, I already forgot her name. Not Hornet, the mother. She's like, I need my bloodline to be strong. And so she tried to seduce, and successfully seduced, propositioned mostly, the Pale King to bed with her. That's how bugs work. They still have the SEX. We're all siblings. Oh, Monomon. Oh, okay.
The Hollow Knight did a pretty good job of keeping the Radiants at bay for a while, but eventually they started to get out anyway. It turned out that he wasn't really hollow at all. He had one idea in his empty head, and ironically that idea was to press his father by being truly hollow.
Oh! That was the Oh! So the Hollow Knight used to look like me. And then he got bigger. So he got hollower. Because the bigger you are on the surface, the more room for activities you have on the inside. And so he's like, I want to impress Daddy. And Daddy's like, no, don't think about that. Don't think about anything. Be dumb. And he's like, oh, so I want to be extra dumb to impress Daddy. And his daddy's like, no, stop thinking about that. Hollow Knight becomes sentient and that made the Radiance break. Yeah, exactly. That's also why the Hollow Knight stabbed himself. He failed. Oh, that's so sad. That's actually really sad. That's a classic story of daddy issues.
He just loved his dad, but the Radiance was like, The Pale King said screw it, and peaced out by moving his entire palace into the mind of one of his guards who still lies dreaming in the ancient basin to this.
What? He moved his entire palace into the mind of one of his guards. And despite the guard dying and therefore have no more brain activity, the whole palace still exists intact and they're okay? Is that a loophole? Because usually, if you move something into the mind of something else and that mind dies, it doesn't work anymore, does it? Had you made it past the Path of Pain? I did not do Path of Pain. I did the not pain path. The path that wasn't as painful, but to me it was still painful. You were there, yes. The dreams technically can connect to an afterlife in this world. Oh, so it's just a separate dimension with a gate of a mind. Is that what I'm getting? Like the mind is a gate, but the space is still not connected to that mind. Just the door. The mind's just a door. Yes and oh. You can dream no corpses, so then that's true. That means there's a lot of doors, and that's not very safe.
This day, he eventually died, probably from void. Everyone else in Hellenest.
I remember that body. I didn't know. I did not make a connection. And then he died from probably void? I'm still not sure what the void is.
Was like, oh damn, and went back to being brainless, orange-eyed, hive-mind bugs. The few
no!
bugs who did manage to keep their intelligence called this phenomenon the infection and steered clear of infected bugs.
Oh no!
Deepness didn't really change much. The mantises didn't get infected because they were too cool, except some—
The mantises were too cool! Oh my god! Wow. So the mantises all have huge brains. They never were under the Radiance's influence, and they never were into the Pale Knight either. They're just like Switzerland. Come in a big brain. The mantises were like Switzerland. They were not on either side, and they just wanted to be left alone. And even at the end of the world, they just wanted to be left alone. I see. If you have strong will or purpose, you can resist. So you're saying that the other bugs were just weak. It's a skill issue. I see.
Some of them were so cool they got infected on purpose just to
What? Wait! Some of them were so cool they got infected on purpose? Go back.
Infected because they were too cool. Except some of them were so cool they got infected on purpose just to get more buff. Mad lads.
Mad lads! Trader Lord. Oh! So getting into the hive mind means more power. I guess that makes sense. That's why the bugs in the forgotten railer, the entry place got stronger after the infection got there. Trader Lord, you're not cooler than your sister. I don't know. Trader Lord is like the edgiest edgy name ever, and I believe he believed he was cool.
Hornet spends her time protecting what's left of Hallownest and guarding the king's brand, a brand that would allow a bug to be recognized as the new king and uncover the kingdom's secrets and possibly break the seals. Meanwhile, some of the Pale King's void babies, they're actually called vessels, manage to escape from the giant pit. Some of them make it pretty far, and at least one of them makes it all the way out of Hallownest. A long time later, one such vessel wanders back in.
Wait a minute! Go back! Eh? I don't remember this.
Pretty far, and at least one of them makes it all the way out of Hallownest. A long time later, one such vessel wanders back into Hallownest and starts messing around.
So, how did they get out of the abyss? What? We don't have any idea how or why we were outside? That makes sense, I guess, because we didn't, like, it doesn't tell us what we were doing before. So we were from there. We were so Chad that we got out and left, and somehow we came back. Even though leaving, I think, was a good thing. It's like, oh, this place has gone to seed, I'm leaving. It's like going back into a zombie horde. Why would you? But we don't know. Why don't we know?
This is the character you play as in Hollow Knight. What happens next is up to you.
Guys, check out my new favorite channel. It is so good.
Well, that was the video Hollow Knight's backstory explained in 4 minutes by Cardboard Head. Was Guumi? Hi, Jebra. Welcome. Happy Friday. Since picking games chat. Oh, okay. Let me see. 4 thrones, 3 lords. I didn't realize there were 4 of them. I thought that was just architectural columns. Because someone now 6 years ago and we have questions and no answers. Oh, so we still don't know. And Hornet was going to... Hornet stayed, and because she's so strong-willed, did not get infected, and she was just hoping that other hollow babies came back and did things. I feel like that's a tall ask. I feel like you could probably do it yourself. Oh no, she can't. She's too full in the brain hole. She needed someone that's head empty, and that was us. But we had an idea. No, we didn't. I was gonna say that like we had an idea of what we're doing in Hollow Nest, but we didn't. We were just like swinging a nail around all willy-nilly, and if people attacked us, we attacked them. And I certainly played the role of head empty. I have no idea what I'm doing here quite well. We witnessed how the infection consumes a mind. You remember that singing bug in the Crystal Peak? I think so. The one that was really, really sad. And then we had to like take her soul away or something. It was like the pleasure house or something. I remember that being really sad. That was so sad. The next video is...
It's our only good look at
oh gosh. The next video is this one, which is one of the top videos that come out when I search Hollow Knight lore. It's the mostly complete lore of Hollow Knight, and it's an hour and 16 minutes. No, not the pleasure house. Oh, but yeah, you also don't need to take the ghost essence. Oops. I thought we did. We had one mission and was throw hands with a god. Makes sense, makes sense. Throw the hands. Throw hands. But I think that was perfect, right? That we were like... We didn't really have a purpose. We just went. Oh my gosh. That jump scared me. I took all in the graveyard and then regretted it. Oh yeah, dude, you have too much hope for Guumi to remember that. Remember, I've been playing this game on and off for over a year. There are some things that I just don't remember. I remember the singing bug because it was sad, and I remember saying it was sad. Anyways, remember to like and subscribe because I'm not gonna remember anything soon, and you gotta be here to remind me. I have early onset dementia. #J. Nope, /J. Hashtag is not a thing that you do for those. Contains spoilers. Yes, we want to be spoilered. Nyang.
If you were to ask me, what is your favorite video game ever made? I would have to say Cory in the House for the Nintendo DS. But Hollow Knight would be a close second. Hollow Knight was released on February 24th, 2017 by Team Cherry, an indie game studio based in the mythical land of Adelaide, South Australia.
They
Over the
were
past 3 years,
Australian!
Hollow Knight has become an indie darling. The game has sold over 3.5 million copies. It was the opening game at ADGQ 2019.
What the heck is
There's a Hollow
those
Knight book,
letters?
a line of plushies, t-shirts,
Keep the
nicotine
nut cherry.
patches, nuclear
Wait! Go back! Nick, what do you mean, what do you mean?
nuclear warheads,
The wait. That's more concerning. What?
and even vinyl records for all you goddamn hipsters.
Ooh.
Team Cherry had one goal when making Hollow Knight. They wanted to create a world that allowed players to get completely lost in exploration. We can see this desire in Hollow Knight's design. The levels in Hollow Knight are massive, with secrets and rewards hidden in every nook and cranny.
I found that
Powerful
place.
Charms, special abilities, or the game's navigation system requires the player to work for their map, forcing them to make a stronger mental image of the world in their head.
That didn't happen. I used the compass, I used the GPS charm, the entire game. What do you mean work? The mental image in my head. That didn't happen?
Christopher Larkin's score and Ari Gibson's artwork lend to this as well, creating an atmosphere that the player won't want to leave. But there's one aspect of Hollow Knight that keeps people like me coming back.
Ooh.
The world building.
Oh. Yeah, the world building. The one that I totally understood when I first played it. I want to get to the hive, but I couldn't last stream. I need to update my thumbnail. Oh, okay.
When Super Metroid launched in 1994,
Whoa,
it stood
different
out
game.
for its amazing sense of immersion.
Immersion.
Now, in 1994, I was busy not being alive,
Oh.
but I've watched enough YouTube video essays to know that this game was a big deal. In case you didn't know, Super Metroid is basically the granddaddy of all Metroidvanias.
I mean, that's why it's called
they're
Metrovania.
Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Now in Super Metroid, there are moments that give the player a sense of depth. Basically the feeling that this world exists outside of Samus's interactions with it. In the room right before that diabetic crocodile thing, Samus can find the corpse of a random soldier.
Oh?
His inclusion here doesn't change the gameplay at all, but instead gives the player a sense of wonder about the world they are exploring.
Does this not happen in other games where the world feels like it's a world? I guess if you're thinking about, like, say, Mario or Pong, which doesn't have a story at all. I guess. No. I mean, even in Mario, there's toads that live. But I guess, like, 94 was before Pokemon, I guess. So Pokemon's world feel like it's lived in, but that's after this. This is before the concept of Pokemon. Sometimes the world doesn't matter. Tetris. Yeah, Tetris doesn't have a story at all, though. What's a 1994 game, or like previous to that may or may not have a world? Mario Kart. Mario Kart was not 1994. Maybe. Mario Kart has a world, for sure.
Who was this guy?
Who was
Why
this
was
guy?
he here in the first place?
What?
Did he like jazz?
Does he like jazz?
Now, finding dead bodies and other random garbage is pretty cool, right? Well, Hollow Knight basically does the same thing
Oh.
about a dozen times.
Oh.
Through its world building, Hollow Knight turns Hallownest into a living kingdom. You can sense the ancient history of the land when you look at dilapidated structures or giant barred doors. Nothing feels like it was put into the game randomly. There's a reason for it all.
Huh?
Except those reasons aren't the easiest to uncover.
Oh! I don't think I ever made it to this. Where was this? Zelda? Oh yeah, Zelda's an old game. I don't know when the first Zelda was, but Zelda has a lived-in world, doesn't it? And hi, Ghost Type, welcome in. I always wondered about those bug bots. Yeah, I missed this.
Hollow Knight's narrative is buried under layers of NPC dialogue, item descriptions, lore tablets, and even additional content like the Quarrel comic and Fangamer's Wanderer's Journal. These past 3 years have seen an insane amount of research by the Hollow Knight community to make sense of Team Cherry's sprawling...
Wait! I saw something. Wait a minute. What was that?
Insane amount of research by the Hollow Knight community
Whoa,
to make sense of Team
I'm gonna move on.
Cherry's sprawling world. We've even made it to the point where people are looking at the in-game signs to try and decipher Hallownest's logographic language.
Did you never get to the Grim Troop? I don't know. I didn't know how to read. So if I did, no one told me their name? Question mark?
In this video, I hope to give you a long and detailed look into the world of Hollow Knight.
You missed
exploring
thinking the
Hallownest's
game,
history
but
and
as
uncertain
can't
future.
escape
When
yours.
I'm not busy making surprisingly accurate Super Smash Bros. Roster speculation videos, or insightful podcasts about beloved subjects like the Donkey Kong Country television series, or whatever this was supposed to be, I'm usually making videos about Hollow Knight. And while I am a seasoned Hollow Knight lore expert, I cannot confirm that every musing or theory presented in this video is completely correct. I highly recommend checking out the lore section of the Hollow Knight wiki if you want a more neutral explanation of Hollow Knight's lore. But if you're too lazy to read...
Yeah, I'm too lazy to read. Video essayist, please tell me the lore without me having to read. Woman has her priorities. The way to get to the trip is very convoluted, so I understand why she missed it. Oh man, maybe I'll go back and find a couple things. But then I have other games to play.
Then I suggest you sit back, order some Domino's pizza,
Ooh, Domino's!
or just grab a block
My
of cheese
favorite.
from the fridge, and enjoy
don't have
the
cheese in
mostly
my
complete
fridge.
lore of Hollow Knight.
Mostly.
It's a simple fact of life that every human worships a god, be that technology, ideologies, or in rare cases, God. As it turns out, the bugs in Hallownest pretty much operate in the same way.
Okay.
From the Mosskin born from the dream of a giant slug, to the emo kids of the ancient civilization who literally worship the darkness, there is no shortage of things to worship in the world of
I
Hollow
want to
Knight.
worship the blue butterflies.
Our story begins
They're
with
cute.
a creature very much worthy of worship. A creature born from the carcass of a worm. The carcass can still be found in the Kingdom's Edge.
That was a carcass of a worm? I thought that was just a crown, like a statue or something, you know, like a pillar that fell over. And this is just like the crown. And then you just walk in there. That's a body? Hi Billy, what's up? Worming, yes, oh my gosh. Chat, would you still love me if I was a giant dead spiky worm? What I enter into? It's in the title. We're reacting to Hollow Knight lore because I played this game for an entire year and had no idea what was going on.
And it's our only good look at what worms actually looked like.
Worms? As in there's more than one? The other video said there was only one. That's a worm? The worm, as in W-Y-R-M. I guess it's different.
At the time Hollow Knight occurs, it is suggested there are no worms left in the world.
Oh, no worms. So there's only that one worm. Oh, it's a dying species. That's why he wanted to live forever and rule and stuff. That's why he was being weird. Like, I wanted to, like, have a goth moth mommy or something.
They were incredibly long creatures that featured little to no limbs. Another more mysterious property of worms was that they had some kind of prescience or foresight.
Prescience, or I don't know the word prescience, but I know what foresight means. It means they have clairvoyance, right? That they could see the future. I had a crazy turnout. He wasn't crazy. Good morning. Oh, good morning to you, Cher Pumpkin. It's nighttime for me.
Basically, they could see the future to some capacity.
Ah.
It isn't clear how effective this ability was. Considering how the entire race went extinct, this foresight ability must have been pretty shit.
I was gonna say, if you can see the future and you still died, skill issue to the max. You had the skills, you didn't even use it. Or maybe they were asleep, they were wiped out. No, even if they were wiped out in their sleep, you could still foresee that you'll be wiped out in your sleep and just not sleep that night.
Getting back to this particular worm carcass, it is explained that this worm traveled across the distant mountains and wastelands beyond Hallownest. Once it arrived in Hallownest, the worm died. Except not really. Inside the maw of the carcass sits a pale broken egg, out of
A pale broken egg. Oh, chat, it was pregnant. Like when you wished for intelligence, then realized what you should have wished for. Like wisdom.
which hatched a new form of worm, a being of meager shell.
A meager shell.
This form of the worm is usually referred to as the Pale King, and he's the character basically responsible for everything that happens in Hollow Knight.
Oh, in the other video they say that the worm turned into the Pale King. But no, in this video it says that the Pale King was birthed from the worm as a child. And then the child lived on, but the worm died. Question mark? Like a lobster? Many say that the worm became the king. Yeah, so that's ambiguous, I guess.
The Pale King is a higher being, a type of creature that exists above all others.
Okay, but why?
His body was said to shine with a radiant visage that harmed those who looked upon him.
Oh, so he was just shiny! Because he was shiny, people thought he was a god. But are we sure he was a god? How powerful is he? Like, what are his skill sets? What are his stats? Like a reincarnation, that's why we, or that's what we thought. Oh. I guess if you die giving birth, you kind of assume that that's a reincarnation. That's not true in real life, though.
The ultimate goal of the Pale King seemed to be in line with that of other worms.
Okay.
A line from the cryptic Mr. Mushroom reads, "Worms pull bugs into their thrall, till ages pass and kingdoms fall." In other words, it's just in their nature. Dogs wag their tails, cats bury their shit, and worms bring massive amounts of bugs into their service in order to form long-standing kingdoms and civilizations. And here in a far...
Okay, so this is kind of like, a worm is a world-ending entity for bug civilization. Then what about the world back when there was a lot of worms? Did they all end different bug civilizations? How King Stats 9999. Oh. The man rises simulation and give intelligence on area. Oh, hi, spoiler 122. Well, welcome. The friggin' mushrooms, yeah. The start of civilization, not the finished civilization. Oh, because bugs didn't have a civilization and then it started one. It started its own capitalism?
far corner of the world, the Pale King emerged from the corpse of his former self and began to build his eternal kingdom, Hallownest. There's this one slight problem. There's like people already living there.
Colonization! The The Pale King was the British. He was a British monarchy, and he came and said, "This land is my land now," and there were people already here. Like America. Hollow Nest is America. And the Pale King was King Louis the, how many numbers? 13th? 11th? 14th? I don't even know. It's inevitable, yeah. Marca.
The area that would eventually become Hallownest was already filled with mantises, bees, moths, spiders, mushrooms, and bush cosplayers.
Who?
Each of these groups were already operating with their own cultures and societies, and each group had a different interaction with the Pale King. One of the more receptive groups to the arrival of the Pale King were the mushrooms of the fungal wastes.
Okay.
These creatures were able to communicate with one another through one shared mind. The mushrooms viewed this shared mind
they were already
as
a hive mind.
And they were kind of smug dickheads about it.
Oh my gosh!
Ultimately, the mushrooms wearily accepted the Pale King's rule.
How did we know that they were jerks about it? I don't remember talking to a mushroom. This is actually the second stream I've been to. I think it was a stream trying to beat Radiance. Oh yeah, I did eventually beat Radiance. It was very fun.
Viewing his foresight as a shield to the dangers of the future. Another group living in the fungal wastes is the Mantis tribe. The Mantises have a rich cultural history reaching back to long before the birth of Hallownest.
Yeah, they seem very civilized.
The Mantises are a proud tribe,
yeah,
believing in the importance of proving one's physical strength. The Mantises are fiercely territorial, but will show respect to those who display great power.
Garfield absolutely displays great power. Look at that. Look at that deep bow, almost perpendicular to Garfield. 100%, yeah.
These Fight Club enthusiasts were led by 4 powerful...
You need to equip the mushroom charm to talk to them. I think I have the mushroom charm, and I never equipped it.
Mantis lords, who I guess just kind of sat around waiting for outsiders to challenge them. The Mantis tribe had no interest in the Pale King's kingdom, but the two communities did come to a truce. In exchange for their independence from Hallownest, the Mantis tribe kept the beasts of Deepnest from invading Hallownest.
Oh, so they were like right there. They're like, oh, we'll keep you safe. We'll be your bodyguards, and you won't tell us what to do. That's basically what they wanted, right? Did you see that scene? Which scene? Picture commenting on the 4th Lord? Yes, I did see. Why can't the knight do a backflip? I don't know. Hi, Pure Vessel. Welcome.
Not sure why they didn't just go out the other exits from Deepnest.
That's what, like, yeah, it's like, there were multiple entrances to Deepnest. So... Not sure why not?
Nest, but whatever. I'm not an expert on border patrol. I don't work at ICE anymore. Let's move on to Deepnest. Now, many of the different tribes
they can't climb.
Were kind enough to leave lore tablets behind, detailing pretty much everything we need to know about them. Unfortunately, the bugs of Deepnest didn't do that. We know that the spiders of Deepnest had a monarchy because why not? Those are always good, right? Also, within Deepnest are a separate group of spiders that immigrated to Deepnest at some point in the past. This group was known as the Weavers, and they established their own culture and history within
They
Deepnest.
didn't belong there?
They used looms of silk to weave stories, spells, and shields. One thing we know for sure about Deepnest is that they really didn't want anything to do with Hallownest. The struggles of
Okay, so Deepnest also didn't like Hallownest. And there were 2 different spider clans. What about the... I always thought there was only 1. Because they all had like the little slits as eyes. Huh.
Hallownest relations would become painfully clear as time goes on. But for right now, it seems like the two remained fairly isolated from one another.
Okay.
Another section of pre-Hallownest includes Greenpath. Now, as far as we can tell, the mushrooms, mantises, and spiders of Deepnest didn't worship any higher beings. There is this giant mushroom corpse in the fungal core, but I don't think this is a higher being.
Did I ever find this? I might have. I just don't remember. Also, the failed tram are interesting details. Oh, true.
I mean, who the hell would want to worship a fat-ass mushroom?
I
Fat-ass
would.
slugs?
Oh,
Now
cute.
that's dope.
That's
The
cute.
land we know as Green Path was created by the higher being known as Un. Un used her great mind to dream the vegetation of Green Path into the once barren caverns.
You could just dream greenery? Can I dream greenery? Or can I only dream microplastics? Not as I remember. I never went to the man, I miss so much. Why doesn't my brother grow up? I don't know. Maybe they're just short. Maybe they have that genetic deficiency. I think you can dream about food. I cook, so I dream about food and then I use my hands to cook and then make the dish into reality. Is that what they did? So Un didn't just use her mind to dream the greenery. She was a gardener. She physically used her mind to decide which seeds to plant and then turned green paths into a greenery. I think that makes more sense than using just her mind to make plants. Oh, now I see the name. I think I understood. Yeah.
Un's followers, the Mothkin, were also born out of Un's dream, making her their creator. Green Path at its height was actually much larger than we see in game. At one point, Green Path stretched into both modern-day Queen's Garden and possibly Fog Canyon. Green Path's citizens showed themselves to be a fairly developed society. They built a temple at the Lake of Un in order to worship her, and they even had their own line of defense, with Moss Knights showing proficiency in combat, using nails and shells as weapons. The Law of Un continued to remain in effect even after the Pale King arrived, but it seems like they allowed the king to establish a road through their lands, leading travelers to the heart of Hallownest.
Yeah.
Hence the name Green Path. Yeah, Team Cherry really racked their brains when naming this area, didn't they? Next,
this seems so nice!
Bees. And while there is no lore on how these bees can turn into fucking drills, or how they can ignore all known laws of aviation, we do know how they...
No, bees themselves ignore all laws of aviation, and yet they don't know about the laws of aviation, and therefore they fly in despite of it.
Reacted to the Pale King. These bugs decided to seal their hive off from the rest of the world, with only patrol bees being able to enter and exit the hive. So yeah, the bees are pretty much pointless in this story. And finally we have the moth tribe.
But then how do they get nectar? Because bees have to go and get flowers. So they have to go to Green Pass, right? Because Green Pass is where all the flowers are. To make the honey. You can't make honey out of just nothing, right? They're tiny enough to paddle in the air, not fly, is why their wing can be so small. It's fascinating. Oh. Isn't that just normal wings in general? That's the other side of the map? Yeah, bees travel for miles to grab honey for their hive. In real life. So why not in Hallownest?
In-game, the only moth settlement is in the resting grounds. But the tribe might have also inhabited the Crystal Peak at one point.
Huh?
Now, as we all know, moths in real life are just complete assholes.
No, they're not!
As
They're
for the
cute!
moths in Hollow Knight, well, it's a bit complicated. The moth race is described as being a rather pacifist group, with few ever choosing to take up a weapon. During the Pale King's reign, the moth race delved amongst dreams and the dead, displaying the importance of remembering those who have passed, as well as learning how to shape dreams themselves. Similar to the Mothkin, the moth tribe was born from a higher being known as the Radiants.
Okay, so the moth people were the predominant other factor because they're under the Radiance, but they're mostly pacifist. Then why is the Radiance so hard to beat? If she was a pacifist, she wouldn't have thrown all those needles at me. You know, I could have been like, you're a pacifist, you're not supposed to be fighting back. And she would have been like, oh, you're so right, my bad. Lay down's weapon. And then I'll just shank her. I'll go shank. I'm not a pacifist. You can't tell me what to do. Shank. Now, wings from larger creatures need to generate lift and flap to lift creatures. The wing need to be huge. Bees are light enough that wind is viscous to them. Oh, that makes sense, I guess. Okay. I think I understand. It's magic, basically. Our people are the Pacific Ocean. Oh my gosh. Are they near me? Is there a hot single moth mom in my area right now?
The radiance is described as being a light in which the moth tribe basked. So she was basically a giant lamp to them.
That makes
Another
sense.
important aspect about the radiance.
See, that makes sense. If for moth civilization, a shiny entity is definitely seen as a god because moths love shiny things. Definitely makes sense. But then they didn't like the Pale King because, well, Pale King's also shiny. Why didn't they like the other shiny object? Maybe they like their old shiny object more than the new shiny object. She was the lamp. Yeah, she was the lamp.
Radiance is her ties to dreams and a substance known as essence. Essence are the remains of wishes and dreams, and are represented in-game by these dream catcher particle effects. Essence can take the form of whispering roots, as well as dream ghosts, both of which are memories taking root in the world. The Radiance appears to be a creature made of essence, but she isn't the only higher being to give off essence. Un has green particles, the Pale King has gray particles, and this sexy character named Grim gives off fiery.
I didn't see this. I did not see this character. Grim. Also, the floating particles I thought was just like a stylistic interpretation of coolness or mysticness inside the world. I didn't realize that they were particles that has meaning? Huh? Yeah, Grim from the Troop Grimace DLC, I believe. Oh. I don't remember what DLCs I have.
Red particles. However, the Radiance appears to be the main god when it comes to dreams, even if other gods also dabble in the dream realm. Getting back to the Moth tribe, it is their interaction with the Pale King that we need to discuss. Basically, the Moths turned their backs on the Radiance completely, in order to worship the new light that had appeared, the Pale King's light.
So they did! They didn't think that their old light was any good. They were like that one meme with the Toy Story meme where it's like, I don't want to play with you anymore. I have this new thing. That one Toy Story meme. So they throw away their old lamp in favor of the new lamp. That totally makes sense for moths. All cuz are free. Oh, I see. If you get Hollow Knight recently, you get game all with all DLC. I might have it then. I'll have to double check.
So yeah, moths are assholes in this game too. With her tribe forsaking her, the Radiance became a forgotten memory, a remnant of the past.
That's
and
so
the thing
sad.
That's definitely not going to come up again later.
That's so
video.
sad.
And so the Pale King's new kingdom was established, Hallownest. But there is one aspect of Hallownest that we need to discuss.
You know what? I feel bad for the moth mommy
to
now.
better understand this, we're going to have to read some poetry.
Ew,
In
poetry.
Wilds Beyond they speak your name with reverence and regret. For none could tame our savage souls, yet you the challenge met. Under palest watch you taught, we changed. Base instincts were redeemed. A world you gave to bug and beast as they had never dreamed.
I blanked out. What did they say? In Wilds Beyond, they speak your name with... So what are they talking about? Are they talking about the Radiance or are they talking about the Pale King and talking about the Hollow Knight? Under Palest Watch, I guess, means the Pale King? Nope. My brain is not good enough for poetry. It's not happening. I thought I realized something. They're talking about him, the things he did. Okay. Pale made intelligence happen. Okay. Is that what it means? That you taught we changed base instincts were redeemed? Like a coupon? You're redeeming a coupon? With instinct? A world you gave to bug and beast as they had never dreamed. Well, I mean, that's a good thing. Like, I didn't even dream about this world. If you feel bad for Radiance, just think about what it did to Mila. Who's Mila again?
This is from a poem titled Elegy for Hallownest, written by Motomon the Teacher. The poem appears at the beginning of every playthrough, and hints at what the Pale King and his kingdom offered.
Okay.
Much of the land outside of Hallownest appears to be a wasteland, where bugs survive off of instinct, without the burden of mind. Hallownest somehow taught these bugs and tamed their savagery. Basically, the Pale King changed the instincts of his subjects and granted them higher thought.
Okay. I think I understand. The stuff outside is just like normal bugs. And then only in Hallownest do they have intelligence for society. Some might argue that society is a bad thing because we live in a society and we don't like it. Buggist? Maybe. This is crying every time you forget her name.
To get a better picture of this, let's look at two different characters.
Oh, the bug in
Boone
Crystal
and
Peak.
Tuck. These adorable panda bug things give us a clear display of Hallownest's effect. While both appear to be the same species of bug, Boone is dumb as a sack of rocks, struggling to string together words, while Tuck speaks fairly clearly. The main difference between these two characters is that while Boone lives outside of Hallownest, Tuck lives beneath the city's capital.
I think I've met him. I definitely don't know what the other character is. I mean, if he lives outside of Hallownest, how would he know? The comics, those are a ton of lore. Oh man, I didn't know anything about comics. I was just playing the game.
Basically, it appears as though Hallownest is a literal holy ground that raises the intelligence of those who dwell within. The Pale King established a path, starting from the kingdom's entrance in King's Pass.
While me being in Hallownest, I was not smart.
At the massive capital at Hallownest's heart. We now know the capital city as the City of Tears, but that was likely not its original name. The rain that falls down onto the city from the blue lake above didn't begin until after the kingdom collapsed. So unless the capital was originally named by some—
Wait a minute! The rain wasn't rain! Because of course it's not rain, they're underground! I never got that. I never made that connection. So it's leaking the blue lake! Yeah, they were underground, yeah! Someone new to Hollow Knight lore, I click, yes, I never made that connection. Then how does a lake... You would think that the lake would be emptied by now, right? Given how much it was quote-unquote raining. Quirrell literally tell us, who's Quirrell?
Edgy literature student, the name City of Tears wouldn't have made much sense. The king's motivation for all this appears to have been his desire to be worshipped. The citizens of Hallownest believe that the Pale King created the world and everything in it. Shrines to the king can be found scattered throughout the kingdom, and king's idols were created and distributed to followers of the king. Despite the worship, the Pale King often kept himself hidden from his subjects, possibly to hide his blemishes. I mean, if you look at the size of the real Pale King to his statue in the ancient basin, the man is clearly overcompensated.
It's okay, Pale King. Size doesn't matter. It's how you use it. I'm so sorry for making a size joke in a Hollow Knight video. He's shiny. Yeah, he's shiny at least. I'm a slow writer, that's why I always write late. No worries. Everyone said that and no one means it. Sad face. Ghost is right. Yeah, short king.
The Pale King's White Palace was also built underneath the city, separating him from his subjects even more so.
He's so insecure. He's so cute now.
Certain powers became shunned in Hallownest, though we don't know for sure if the Pale King had anything to do with this.
Your life is golden.
Lifeblood is a blue liquidy substance that leaves those who drink it feeling refreshed. However, the use of lifeblood was seen as a taboo, and those who used it were demonized as heretics. The use of soul for combat was also shunned.
Why?
Soul is a sort of life force in Hollow Knight that animates the bodies of living creatures. But some characters are able to control the soul of others to conjure powerful spirits. But aside from a few exceptions, no citizens of Hallownest ever used this power. However, the Pale King didn't rule alone.
It's
there
a
was
wife!
Another higher being in the mix, a being known as the White Lady. The White Lady is a weird brute-like being that can be found in the modern-day Queen's Gardens.
I've met her.
She's encased in a strange cocoon, and we know very little about her. With as much exposition we get for the Pale King, there is next to nothing on the White Lady. But one thing we do know is that she likes to breed. Like, a lot.
What does that mean? Chat, what does that mean? What does it mean that she likes to breed a lot? Why, what jump scare? Totally. Like, make kids. Oh, she's a freak. She's a kinky lady. Aha. She's freaky. It means what it means. Oh gosh. No periods for you. Just straight babies. A true mommy. Yes, a true mommy. She looks cute. Her eyes look like a mother's eyes. I don't know how. And they say she's a root. Does that mean she's not a bug? It also makes sense that if she's able to procreate with the Pale King, that she's also a worm? Species-wise, right? Reproduction, yeah. Chat's thumb.
The White Lady would often retreat to the Queen's Gardens, an area of land once controlled by the Mosskin. How exactly she walked around and actually went places is a lore question too deep for even my expertise. The White Lady is also
she
known
could just
as
unwrap.
a pale being, along with the Pale King.
Yeah.
What exactly are pale beings? Well, we don't know for sure, but they seem to stand out even amongst higher beings, as being even more powerful.
Worms?
I know that's a little confusing, so let's try using an example. I'd
game
say
is
that
pretty,
regular
yeah.
higher beings are like a TP-Link Archer C7 AC1750 wireless dual-band gigabit router, while pale beings are like the Asus RT-AX88U AX6000 dual-band 8X gigabit Wi-Fi router. Under the Pale King, Halnest underwent
I understood
an
nothing.
industrial revolution.
I understood nothing.
He ordered the construction of the stagways, which were used to transport passengers and goods. The Forgotten Crossroads and the storerooms above the City of Tears were used to store goods that traveled along these stagways.
Yeah, they get
The
better
King also
Wi-Fi.
ordered the construction of the tramway.
The pale people got better Wi-Fi than the uns of the world. I see. Okay, that's easier. What do you mean that's easier? I don't understand nothing. What?
Because literally no one is safe from the threat of automation. A tram was built between the Forgotten Crossroads and the Resting Grounds. A second tram was built from the Kingdom's Edge across the ancient basin over to Deep Nest. And then a third tram was started in Deep Nest and attempted to go further into Deep Nest. Not sure how useful that would have been to the bugs of Hallownest, but whatever. The Pale King...
It's probably for tourism. They were trying to develop tourism because Deep Nest, were still dumb, right? They were still bugs. Like, they were saying in the last video that Deep Nest didn't really get the intelligence buff from the Pale King, and so they probably built that other tram for tourism. They were trying to get into the tourist business to go and look at the stupid monkey people. I mean, well, I guess they'd be bug. They're not monkeys. Stupid bug people couldn't even think, couldn't even write, couldn't even like make a society. Ooh, whoa. Into Deep Nest, like making a tram into Jurassic Park. See? And Jurassic Park universe did it, so they were definitely making a wildlife zoo out of Deep Nest. That's my headcanon. Stupid what people? Bug people!
He's a smart guy. I'm not gonna question him. But anyway, the Pale King's super smart plan to build a tram in Deep Nest ended up getting a few of his tram workers killed. The bugs of Deep Nest rejected the Pale King's attempt to build a tram in their territory, further cementing the poor relations shared between the two groups. Aside from convenient fast travel,
literally America,
regular pathways were also used to cart goods around the kingdom. From this was born probably one of the most important groups in Hallownest, and perhaps even all of fiction. An elusive guild of bugs, simply known as the Menderbugs, took to maintaining the various signs scattered throughout Hallownest. From the journal entry of one Menderbug, we can catch a glimpse into their ancient and unknowable minds.
Dear, dear diary. Isn't life just the most beautiful thing? Fixing signs, mending posts, let them break, I say. I'm a better mender for all that repairing. I sometimes doubt there's a single bug in all of Hallownest happier than me.
Another example.
Did we ever see one? They're out of... You can kill a Menderbug? Best character. It's how everything you break gets fixed. Oh! Even the grass? When I cut the lawn? Now I kind of feel bad about breaking all their signs. Every single time I said, screw your architecture, and broke all the things. Oh, now I feel bad. Yeah, somehow. Oh my gosh. It's sad to see that when you already killed... I killed him? Where?
Of the Pale King's expanding infrastructure is the Crystal Peak. This area is filled with crystals
Super rare
that grow
condition?
rapidly
Oh.
along walls, ceilings, and even the shells of certain bugs. These crystals were considered valuable to the bugs of Hallownest.
Don't worry, they like repair
resulting in
things. Oh,
large-scale
so I'm
mining efforts.
creating jobs.
We don't actually see the crystals used anywhere else in Hallownest, but they are said to contain a sort of energy. The crystals are also said to sing, if you listen very carefully. In terms of military,
Oh my gosh, we just got rickrolled by the Hollow Knight video. Nice. Don't mind the crystal Milo. Who? It was just that to see the diary, you have to kill him. Oh, that's so sad. Dude, did we meet the Bender bug? I don't remember.
Hallownest's first line of defense appeared to be a group simply known as the Five Great Knights.
Whoa.
The members of this esteemed coalition were Ogrim, Hagamol, Zamir, Drya, and Isma.
Oh, so these are the 5 knights that the other video was talking about. Okay, that's the lieutenant knights of the factions. Undead. I'm sorry. Now I'm just doing it for the funsies.
For being so important, most of the information about these knights has been lost to time. Ogrim is the knight we know the most about.
I remember
since he's
him.
one of the few knights still alive during the
Stinky.
events of the game. Ogrim expressed a great amount of loyalty towards the king.
They're all
And
stinky.
he maybe had something going on with Isma, but we really don't know. Hagamol
Affair?
was known for his sense of humor and his soft-spoken voice.
Oh,
But at the same time, he was also dummy thick. Mysterious
best
Samir arrived
quality,
in Hallownest from a
dummy
serene
thick.
land, bringing with her a collection of delicate flowers. At some point, she also got into a relationship with a mantis, but not just any mantis, a daughter of one of the mantis lords.
oh, scandalous.
So yeah, it seems like these great knights were slaying in more ways than one.
Oh my gosh, slay girl, slay. You bed that mantis royalty. Go girl. That's really cool. Like, they're not just guards. They were 3-dimensional characters who wanted love and friendship and lust and all sorts of stuff. I mean, this is all speculation, right? There's no like text for it. How do they know these things, by the way? Just because Laura's crazy? I know, right? The union was frowned upon and she died, so no, the knight cried alone with her flowers. She asked us to put a flower in her grave. Oh, is that how it goes? I don't think I did that. I did not do that. I definitely did not do that quest. Oopsies. Isn't the acid and night? You can talk with the ghost of the mantis girl. Wow.
All we really know about Drya is that she was
It's too hard a
fierce,
quest, yeah.
caring, and wise. As for Isma, she was described as being kind. She also appears to be some sort of weird plant life form, but there's no information on where she's from or what her powers were.
Oh,
The 5 Great Knights played an
she
important
could be
role in the
like an
Champion's
advanced
Call,
moss.
the Knotted Grove, and the Battle of the Blackworm. We have no idea what these events were or how they affected Hallownest, but they sound cool nonetheless. During Hallownest's reign, there was another strange area that seemed to exist separate from the Pale King's rule. Carved out of the corpse of an ancient bug, an area called the Colosseum of Fools was constructed, and it was a destination for...
Wait a minute. Hold on. Go back up. That. This thingy. Doesn't this look like a body of another worm? Because Because in the beginning, like somewhere, I don't remember. Like that one, the worm had this big like body and then it had like a spiky crown. Doesn't this look like a body of another worm? So this could be where the pale lady came from. That's her body. And then there's another worm that's a pale king. And this is just like, maybe she was here earlier.
The area that seemed to exist separate from the Pale King's rule. Carved out of the corpse of an ancient bug, an area called the Colosseum of Fools was constructed, and it was a destination for warriors from outside Hallownest.
Oh, wait a minute. Warriors from outside Hallownest? But didn't they say that bugs outside Hallownest were dumb? How did they know?
The sole purpose for fighting in the Colosseum appeared to be simply for glory, with a mysterious figure known as the Lord Fool overseeing the combat.
Oh, I was only here for a little bit because I didn't actually complete any challenges. I didn't really notice there was a dead person that was supposed to be the king looking over it. Oopsies. That's too many information for a non-existent brain. Yeah, I'm trying to remember things and I'm failing. Maybe there were more worms that gave them brain and they left? Maybe. Funny to see them hitting the air.
We don't know when the Colosseum was constructed or if the Pale King was involved, but one of his servants, the Pale Lurker, became a champion in the Colosseum, perhaps indicating the Pale King's approval. And finally, there was the Royal Waterways,
Pale Lurker?
where the fecal
Another pale
excrement
person?
of the kingdom was washed out into the fungal wastes.
Wow.
This area saw the rise of a species of parasite-like creatures called the flukes.
Those things!
The flukes
Dogs!
spawned from the fluke marm, a giant monster with cavities in which tinier flukes live.
Yeah.
There really isn't too much lore involved with the flukes, but I do need to point out that the fluke marm is canonically a MILF.
The fluke marm is canonically a MILF. I mean, there's a lot of MILFs in Hollow Knight, in the Hollow Nest. Remember all the bugs that I hated who was pooping out babies that they were trying to kill me in the beginning? Those are also MILFs. What did I just hear? I'm in public? Well, that's your fault for playing a video without headphones in public. Oh no.
Like, that's not even debatable. The sky is blue, 2 + 2 = 4, and we all want to fuck this thing. And so this was the kingdom of Hallownest at its height.
Put on headphones!
Hallownest was a vast kingdom connected by a network of stagways and tram stations. The bugs of Hallownest mourned their dead on the resting grounds, engaged in commerce using Geo, the de facto currency of the region, and a thriving capital located in the middle of the kingdom. The Pale King had succeeded in crafting a full-blown society, but we all know there are pitfalls to living in a society.
That's what I'm saying!
As a suspiciously knowledgeable hunter points out.
Whoa! Did I ever see this? This looks kind of cool. That looks human. That's a human skull. I mean, a human skeleton. That guy, I guess, got taken over by some kind of moss beast. Wow.
Out in his journal, the Pale King had created a population of weak and
You run
pathetic
when you see him?
creatures.
Oh.
The bugs of Hallownest did not hunt for their own food and had become complacent with their comfort. This is even more obvious with the east wing of the capital. These greedy members of Hallownest's high society became complete cowards, obsessed with riches and
Oh my
plundering
gosh! I don't think I ever saw this dude. What the heck? But this is the downfall of society. If you have too much hierarchy and having upper class versus lower class and the divide is too big, that's what happens. Late stage capitalism. You didn't? I know. I wanna see the golden boy.
Excess wealth. The bugs living in Hallownest Prime looked quite different than the instinctive simpletons they once were.
The bug is hidden in a
Their
house
savagery had been
of the
replaced with
city of
intelligence,
tears.
And through that intellect, they gave the Pale King the devotion and service he desired. And while there were a few snags along the way, they were shining times for the king and his subjects. Resting at the threshold of Hallownest is a strange lore tablet, proclaiming Hallownest to be the last and only civilization. It calls Hallownest an eternal king.
How do they know that? How do they know that it's the last civilization? Oh, that's because there's no more worms. Because only worms give them intelligence to make a civilization. And so when there's no more worms, there's no more intelligence, there's no more civilization. I see. But who wrote that tablet?
Kingdom. This appears to have been the Pale King's goal, for Hallownest to stand against a wasted world as a final beacon for civilization. And
Okay.
that was the Pale King's ultimate folly, to think that he could succeed where so many others had failed before.
Yeah.
Long before the Pale Kings
This really
were
is
the
a game
very
of entropy,
Bensons of
y'all.
the world. The land of Hallownest was controlled by an ancient caste. Hints of Hallownest history are littered throughout the land, with the most notable examples being the soul totems and arcane eggs. One sect of these ancient bugs
Soul totems and arcane eggs. So those came before the Pale King? Is that what they're saying? Exist is a strong word, but yeah. Silk Song exists. No idea, and we know by the fact that is yes, because Silk Song exists. Exists is a strong word, yeah. Well, we do know that the civilized, like this, for example, the mantises and the moths and the moss with an S, they lived and had a civilization before the Pale King came and Britished the America. So it's not exact. I think they're just being full of themselves. Whoever wrote that is just like, oh, your civilization is not considered a civilization until I make it a civilization, just like the British.
didn't worship a god like the Pale King or any
Nintendo
lord,
exclusive,
but
yeah.
instead a dark and mysterious substance known as the Void. This ancient caste once also tried to lay claim to the entire land of Hallownest, but they too failed. In his quest to conquer all of Hallownest, the Pale King had made an enemy long forgotten, an enemy that was about to be remembered.
What?
I mentioned earlier that the Moth tribe entirely forgot about the Radiants in order to worship the Pale King.
Yeah.
But that isn't quite true.
Well, yeah?
Memories of her
They
still
lied?
lingered, and hushed whispers of faith kept the Radiants alive.
Oh.
At the summit of the Crystal Peak, a location known as Hallownest Crown,
Okay.
a strange collection of glyphs can be found.
Have I ever
Joining
been
these
here?
glyphs is a statue of the Radiants, presiding over the kingdom below. This
I
old
think I've
summit
been
is
here.
the sole standing shrine left to the Radiants. This was built in order to keep the memory of the Radiants alive. The Radiants' light began to appear in the dreams of Hallownest citizens.
See, this is what I was talking about like God and God lore. Someone has to be worshipping the God for the God to exist. That is canonical lore in multiple media, and therefore I believe it as true. I think it is a Nintendo exclusive, just that the only trailer of it is from Nintendo. I mean, that means it'll come out before a PC port, right?
This light manifested itself in an infection that ravaged through the kingdom's tunnels.
Wait, go
Those
back. I think I missed
infested
some
its light began
context.
to appear in order to keep the memory of the Radiants alive.
Okay, so there's a secret
the
cult,
Radiants' light began to appear in the dreams of Hallownest citizens.
and then dream
this
infection.
light manifested itself in an infection that
Dream
ravaged through the
zombies.
kingdom's tunnels. Those infected would fall into a deep sleep and awaken with broken minds.
Mind break tag? Hollow Knight has a mind break tag confirmed? Continue.
Some of the lesser bugs tried to resist the Radiants' light, which only resulted in them
Guumi what?
being consumed by it even more so.
Oh no,
Many
that's a
infected
legit
bugs
moment.
lost their wills and began attacking bugs that weren't
Oh,
infected.
look at him. He's
The
so
infection
cute.
also
What was
twisted the-
wait, what was that? Well, I gotta go. Okay, spoiler 1 to 2. Thank you. I saw something earlier. What was that? I will clip and ship that in every server right now. What is that? What is that?
The infection also twisted the bodies of its hosts, causing them to bloat and occasionally develop orange cysts on their bodies.
Oh my gosh, that's why I'm bloated sometimes, because I'm dreaming too hard about a moth mommy. That's why I have bloating. It's not because of the cheese I eat all the time. It's because I'm dreaming too hard. Is that the Bugs Life Lady Monkey?
For many victims, they were reverted back to their basic instincts, carrying out the duties they once fulfilled in life, but now as mindless slaves. Those caught up in the infection were linked into the Radiance's hive mind, allowing her to control their bodies if needed. As the infection spread across Hallownest, many groups looked for solutions to fight off the Radiance's light. The gates to the City of Tears were closed in an attempt to keep the infection from reaching the city. The stagways were also shut down at some point, and many of the stags eventually died out.
Oh, all the other stags are dead. Have I been? I don't think I've been here. I didn't think I've ever been, because I didn't realize that all of them were dead. I thought that there was only ever just one, which doesn't make sense, right? Because society needs more. I thought the rest of them left or something. Oh, they all died with the seats still strapped on them. They were just standing here going like, oh, I wish someone would call me at the station soon. And then that never happened. They were, you skipped. I skipped. How do I skip so many things? I thought I saw everything. You could hear the bells still ringing, yeah.
But some took more proactive efforts against the infection.
Oh, that's so sad.
The scholars of the Soul Sanctum decided to harness the power of Soul in an attempt to fight the infection.
See, they have scholars. They're so smart.
This resulted in the deaths of hundreds of bugs, whose souls were sucked out and injected into the bodies of the scholars.
Oh, this was the nerds. I remember this. I got to this place like super early. This was like the nerd wizard that go home and then ground pounded. Like hoof and ground pound, and I called him a nerd a lot because he was a wizard, and everyone failed because they were like trying to do something, their magic, and then they failed, and then they become like ghost, and then only he didn't become a ghost, he became a wizard with extra powers.
Their goal was to achieve some kind of pure focus, which would somehow protect them from plagues of the mind. The scholar's leader, the Soul Master, was driven mad by the sheer power of Soul, and his entire sect failed to avoid infection.
They failed? Isn't there... Didn't you guys say that if you have a strong mind, you won't get infected? They're supposed to have a strong mind because they're smart and they're wizards. Why did they not? Even he filled orange eyes, yeah. Ooh, that's so sad. They were like trying to use their big brains that they got from the Pale King to avoid infection, and at the end, it was their folly.
But hey, at least they took as many innocent people down with them as they could.
That's so sad!
The Mantis tribe, showing a stronger will than the common bug, were able to stave off the infection. However, one of the 4 Mantis lords turned against his sisters. He and his followers took in the infection willingly, as it gave them more strength and courage. At some point...
Oh! So, like, it's not just him, it was his followers too. Okay. So they left the Mantis village. Okay. I see. Mantises don't care and respect personal strength. I see. So a strong will is different than a strong mind. Oh, difference.
During all this, the Traitor Lord and his followers were exiled from the Mantis village, eventually taking up residence in the Queen's Gardens. The Traitor Lord's daughter ended up dying at some point.
Did I ever get here? I don't remember if I ever got here.
This is the same Mantis that was in a relationship with Zamir, one of the 5 Great Knights.
Yeah, they mentioned it.
Rejected their union because of Zamir's outsideness.
Outsideness? Oh, xenophobia. Hi, Flash, welcome. So you need to put the flower on? Yeah, I figured now, but I don't remember if I ever got here in my gameplay.
As a gamer, this type of prejudice is all too familiar.
Mossbag?
And honestly,
Mr.
it
Mossbag?
makes me sick. With the 5 Great Knights completely useless to fight against the infection, the Pale King devised his own scheme.
Oh, if the Dung Knight was not infected, that means he also have a strong will too, right? Compared to all the other knights.
A scheme involving a strange substance known as Void.
Okay.
As I mentioned earlier, the Pale King's White Palace was built in an area called the Ancient Basin, but his castle wasn't the only noteworthy thing down there. At the bottom of the ancient basin was the entrance to a pit known as the Abyss.
Okay.
Within the Abyss was a lake composed of void.
What?
The Pale King realized that this void could be given form, as evidenced by an imprint of such deep within the Abyss.
That's an
possibly
imprint?
left there by the ancient civilization that predated Hallownest.
Oh. So that's the void. I always thought void was a creature, but void is just a lake? The French? Or Sandra, we meet him and we barely can talk to him, but he's not infected. The poop made him too strong, true. Maybe it's the stench. You have to have a very strong will to live with the stinkiness, you know? What is a whole thing? What? I will like this video plus the last video, right? Was just saying that the void was a problem, the void, blah blah blah. But like they never explained what the void was.
The Pale King devised a workshop
Many
in
beings
his palace,
exist in the
where he
void.
placed void in armor shells imbued with soul, creating servants known as King's Molds and Wing Molds.
What?
These void creatures were somehow imprinted with the desire of the Pale King, so that they would serve him. It isn't clear when the Pale King started making these creatures. There is evidence to imply that even common bugs were aware of King's Molds.
Oh, that. What? Do I remember this person? I don't remember seeing any of this. Hi, Chantal. Welcome.
But the point is, the Pale King turned to the void in order to create another creature, one that he believed could contain the radiance and her infection. He tried to create a pure vessel.
A pure vessel, ah. The void is a cousin of the abyss. It's the nailsmith. Oh, so I have been there. I went to the nailsmith, I think. So the knights were also our half brothers or half sisters. But they were created, they were birthed. Oh, but then he also created the Hollow Knight and us, the little hollow vessels. So they didn't do the do. They didn't do the snoo. They were just making stuff out of molds. We're moldy. Is a blacksmith the sharpen your nail? Yeah. But to him doing that, you need to have the best nail on the game. Oh, I didn't do that. I got to level 2 or 3.
The Radiance's infection needs its host to have a will and a mind in order to enslave it. A pure vessel would be a creature made of void, designed to lack those features. The Pale King believed that by harnessing the void inside a pure vessel, he would be able to stop the infection and keep Hallownest lasting eternal. But his method for creating this so-called pure vessel was incredibly cruel. This is where the White Lady and her King Kong-sized libido come into
The White Lady and her King Kong-sized libido. What a way to word that! Made of God and void, yeah.
play. These two higher beings engaged in a union of some kind, resulting in the creation of several eggs that were dropped down into the abyss.
So there was Snoo. And it was the White Lady's idea. That's a word in Oh my gosh. So, to create these shells, they did the snoo and got eggs. And then they stuffed the eggs and the vessels with void. I see.
There, the void seeped into these eggs,
Crushed
the offspring of the
pelvises.
Pale King and the White Lady. This act resulted in the creation of the vessels. The vessels are not technically considered to be alive.
Why not?
They are shells created from the Pale King and White Lady that have been filled with the void. Within each vessel is a shade, a completely void being hidden behind the face of the vessel. Vessels are also non-gendered. I guess because they're dead or something.
But they're
I'm
alive.
not sure if
They
that's
came out
how
of an
that
egg.
works, but whatever. I'm not.
Wait, why are they not alive? They came out of an egg. They were a product of snoo. Are they stillborn? Because they can't technically the Pale Lady and the Pale King are different species, and it's like a mule, right? It was the mix between a horse and a donkey. Mules are technically viable as a zygote, but they are born sterile because they, you know, are abomination of nature. So is that what's happening for the hollow vessels? Is that they're born stillborn because the two species are not viable together? Toss some babies into the void. Yeah, I guess they try to give life into a living mold. But there's eggs. They're not molds anymore. They're eggs. Like the liger. Exactly. Gender goom mnemonic at work.
Not an expert on these kinds of things. I don't work at ICE anymore. Thousands of vessels were created during this process.
Again, he said he doesn't work at ICE anymore.
Chosen as the pure vessel.
What does that mean?
This particular vessel, chosen by the Pale King, was deemed the Hollow Knight, and was taken away to the White Palace. But I want to take a bit of a closer look at this part of the story. There are a number of questions and theories surrounding this moment that I really want to dig into. The big question surrounding this moment is, why was the Hollow Knight chosen over any other vessel?
Because he has bigger horns!
One common theory is that the Pale King took these vessels back to the White Palace.
Pale King really believed that size matters. That's why he's so insecure about how small he is compared to what he's depicted as in the statues, and so he chose the vessel for the Hollow Knight based on how big the horns are. And as far as I've seen, the Hollow Knight's horns are bigger than ours or any of the other ones. So, it's an insecurity thing. He's overcompensating again.
And evaluated them using his giant collection of buzzsaws.
Oh my gosh.
This theory is probably the least likely explanation. It kinda exists just to explain the buzzsaws, which is quite the mystery.
Oh my gosh!
But doesn't really mesh with the vessels very well. How does being good at Super Meat Boy prove that you are a worthy vessel? And while thinking about logistics in a game about magic bugs is never a good idea, how exactly did the Pale King transfer these thousands of vessels to his palace without characters like the Dung Defender finding out?
I know, right?
So this means that the Pale King probably made his decision without taking any of the vessels out of the abyss. So how did the Pale King make his evaluation? I think the best explanation comes from a theory I originally heard from a user named Golden Flower Fan. Basically, the vessels were hatched down at the bottom of the abyss, and the first one to make it to the top was chosen by the Pale King. In a memory of this event, we see vessels falling from above back down into the pit of the abyss. Perhaps these vessels weren't being cast down into the abyss, but fell while trying to escape out of it.
Oh, so when we were there were still living vessels that were trying to get out of it. That doesn't make that much sense. I don't know. I don't think that theory holds that much water. But at the same time, look, these people have smaller horns than the Hollow Knight. Just saying.
The lore tablet outside
Guumi calling the Pale King out, yeah.
It reads, "Our pure vessel has ascended. Beyond lies only the refuse and regret of its creation. We shall enter that place no longer." This tablet was likely written right after the Hollow Knight was chosen, considering that is when the entrance to the abyss was sealed off. The tablet proclaims that the pure vessel has ascended, or in other words, climbed out of the abyss.
Yes?
And while cut content should never be considered canon, I would just like to point out that an earlier version of this tablet, found in the game's code, was even more explicit about this. It read, "From below, our pure vessel has ascended." But how does making it to the top of the abyss first prove that the Hollow Knight is somehow a perfectly hollow vessel?
It's because he floats like a balloon. Because if you're not hollow, then you can't float out of the abyss. I think that's what they mean. ASMR. I'm sorry. Maybe it's a crab on a bucket situation. What's a crab on a bucket situation?
Well, I think this whole concept might just be a misconception. What if the Hollow Knight wasn't any different from the other vessels? All the vessels were made in the exact same way after all. The idea that the Hollow Knight was somehow more hollow than the other vessels comes from the fact that there were so many vessels created in the first place. If they only needed one, then why create so goddamn many? I mean, this is like Octomom.
Isn't this just because of the whole, like, King Kong libido? I think he was trying to compensate. Oh, look, it's Waldo, or the Europeans call it Wally. Look, we found him. We found Waldo.
On steroids. Well, these are bugs we're talking about, so it would make sense that multiple offspring
I remember
would come
this.
from one egg. And it might have been a precaution to produce multiple vessels in hopes that at least one would be able to successfully escape the abyss. Now, another explanation could be that the Pale King just yeeted other vessels that made it to the top first, after determining that they weren't hollow, which would better explain why so many were created. Ultimately, the exact details aren't super important, but I do find it interesting how many different interpretations can be pulled from this part of the lore. After the Hollow Knight was chosen, the Pale King sealed the doorway to the abyss, leaving the discarded vessels to rot away in darkness.
That's so sad though, because he chose the first one that got out of the abyss, and what about the other ones? Because we as a player vessel escaped. Where did we come from? How did we get out? I think didn't the other video say something about like many other vessels escaped, and then you could see the dead bodies of other vessels around Hollow Nest. So if he sealed the door, how did the rest of them escape? Dad of the year, totally. They attack you before you get that void bath. Yeah. But if the door is sealed, where'd they come from? We know they escaped, but no idea how. It's so careless. He could have used them as shock troops. True. But was he able to control them? Maybe the Hollow Knight was the only one that's sentient enough? Maybe that's how he determined. Hey Sloth, welcome
in.
in.
Not taken lightly by the Pale King or the White Lady. Both participants expressed shame in what they did, but saw no other option to save the kingdom. But the vessels weren't the only poor saps sealed away in the abyss. There's also a lighthouse that was built on top of a naturally formed spire.
Naturally
its light
formed?
Shining down on an ocean of abyss below. Inside was one of the Pale King's royal retainers, who was left in charge of keeping the lighthouse turned on.
Imagine being chosen for that job, am I right, guys? How can children defend the hollow for daddy's love? Exactly! Oh, but the thing is, if they listen to him, that means they have more sentience. And we want them to have less sentience because we want them to be hollow. So did he pick the one with the least amount of personality? Maybe that's why. He thought that Hollow Knight was so bland that he must have been more hollow because he had no personality. Everyone else had a thriving personality, probably had talents like juggling and arithmetic and astrophysics, and he's like, no, you children are too smart. I want the dumb one. And so he picked the Hollow Knight, not only because of his big horns, but that he was dumb. But even in the end, the Hollow Knight still wanted Daddy's love, and that's how he failed. They had him choose music and he chose white noise. Yeah, the one who doesn't listen is the most useful. Yeah, that makes sense.
So this brave soul was willingly sealed in a dark and dangerous tomb for the rest of his life, just so he could not pull a lever.
Not pull a
at least
lever.
He was living with purpose.
Was
With the
that
abyss
a
sealed and the
purpose?
Hollow Knight chosen, the Pale King's plan was beginning to come together.
What do you
The
mean
Hollow
coming
Knight was
together?
raised and trained to prime form, causing it to grow several times its original size. We don't know exactly why this happened,
Yeah.
but I guess the Hollow Knight is just a grower and not a shower.
That is a sentence of all time. Oh my gosh. I feel like the Pale King, if he was still alive, would be so self-conscious about how tall his child grew. Oh, he took after his mother and not me. Oh. Do nail grows dead, that's for sure, yeah.
We know that the Hollow Knight was trained to use a nail, but why was this even necessary? One possible explanation
what was
is
that thing
the
in the
Hollow Knight
background?
needed to
I've never been
protect
there.
itself in case an intruder tried to kill it. You know, like the player. Or
Like the
perhaps
player.
this was important in the process of containing the radiance. Unfortunately, the details of that are never fully explained. The Hollow Knight
That's
might
true.
have somehow focused the radiance inside itself, but Team Cherry gives us no explanation of how that might have worked. But that still wasn't enough for the Pale King.
Yeah.
Additional seals were needed in order to protect the Hollow Knight's physical body while the radiance was trapped inside of it.
Yeah, like, why was he trained in combat? Because the more you train him, the less hollow he gets, right? Because then he lived a full life, he has memories, he has experiences, and therefore he becomes more intelligent. And if he becomes more intelligent, that means he's less hollow and therefore less useful for you to contain the radiance. If you wanted a completely hollow child to act as a trap and a vessel for the radiance dream, then you should have just like not taught him anything, not given him any experience, and not honed him in the Pale Palace or White Palace or wherever, and just stuck him in there directly into the egg place and then shut him in. Maybe Pale King's kind of dumb in his own way. Maybe he's overcompensating in more ways than one.
To achieve this, the Pale King sought the help of 3 particular bugs, who would later be known as the Dreamers: Lurian the Watcher, Motomon the Teacher, and Hera the Beast.
You should just put a bucket
Lurian
on his
is
head. I
definitely
know,
the most
right?
mysterious of the 3 Dreamers. He lived in the Watcher Spire in the City of Tears. From there, Lurian watched over the city with his telescope. Lurian was a pretty big fan of the king, so it probably took little convincing for him to lie down for him. Lurian might also
Literally.
be tied to another strange incident that occurred in the City of Tears. Hidden
Yeah,
on
leave the
some
kids
of
in the
Lurian's
woods.
lore tablets are images of jars. The same
Jars?
jars that can be found stockpiled in the Tower of Love.
Oh,
This building sits on the outskirts of the city, and is
Tower
the
of
setting of one
Love.
of the most bizarre bosses in the game, the Collector.
collector.
The Collector is a void construct that appears to have been made from the same mold used to create the King's molds.
I think I
But the
didn't get to
Collector is
hear.
unique because, well,
Holy goodness! I definitely didn't get here. But I hope you're having a great day. Thank you. Yeah, we're having a great day. It is Friday. Friday for me. And so Friday night's always the best. I'm pretty sure I never...
The Collector stayed in the Tower of Love with a noble bug who likely owned the establishment. In the tower,
They were
a number of
roommates.
bugs can be found captured in jars, implying that these 2 were tasked with collecting these creatures. However, the Collector somehow became obsessed
Oh,
with
no.
grubs,
Oh,
creating
no.
a map to keep track of grubs it captured in jars,
Oh, no.
as well as keeping a strange shrine displaying a
Oh.
grub in the style of the Vitruvian Man.
Vitruvian.
Eventually, the bug staying with the Collector decided to lock it inside the Tower of Love,
Oh my gosh, this guy got a new kink for grubs. I mean, they are soft and squishy, but please don't do that.
and fled to the Queen's Gardens, where it died, likely due to overexposure to the void.
Oh no.
Despite being locked up in the tower, the Collector is still spotted by the Hunter at some point,
What?
which either means this only happened recently, or the Hunter has been
And
farting
Guumi
around
what?
the Palinest for a long-ass time. We have no idea what these creatures were trying to do. It's implied that the Collector
I'm not
was
the one
trying to
obsessed with
preserve
grubs.
the creatures of Palinest, perhaps trying to protect them from the spread of the infection, but we don't know where the Collector's obsession with grubs originated.
They're soft
And
and,
while Lurian
cute.
does seem
I would too. I mean, I wouldn't like collect grubs into jars because I like them. I like them, so I set them free. And I would pet them and I would squish them in my fingers and then maybe accidentally squish one because that's happened before. When I was young, when I was really, really young, like less than 5 years old, I would take those green caterpillars off of bushes that I see in the yard because I was back in China, right? And I would play with them and roll them around in my fingers and I would squish them and sometimes I would accidentally kill them or on purpose kill them. I used to kill bugs as a kid. Don't everyone? Just saying. And because I like squishy stuff, so I squish bugs with my hands. I'm one of those kids. They sell grub plushies, right? They do?
Connected to all of this, we don't know how
They
involved he
do!
was with this operation, or what its end
I
goal
saw the
exactly
picture.
was. Modemon the teacher lived in the teacher's archives, a library built atop a lake of acid
see it, I
in
see
the
it.
Fog Canyon. The lower half of her body consists of
She's cute.
tentacles, making her
Tentacles!
a popular subject for the thriving Hollow Knight R34 community.
Chat, I know what I'm doing after stream. I mean, what? Dude, no.
The archives and the Fog Canyon as a whole are also filled with these strange Metroid
Also, why
knockoffs.
Garfield?
These creatures are likely related to Modemon in some
Gumi,
way.
no. Oh,
They could
okay.
be her live
I'm not doing
offspring,
that.
her test tube babies, or possibly even her shit.
What? What about her excrements?
Modemon uses futuristic cathode ray tube things to store information about Hallownest. Several terminals in the teacher's archive
do
go
what
into
you want.
detail about the Pale King's plan to defeat
I just
the
like tentacles,
Radiants,
okay?
indicating that Modemon had intimate knowledge of what she was taking part in. Finally, the Pale King sought the help of Hera the Beast, the Queen of Deep Nest.
Hera the Beast.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, relations between Hallownest and Deep Nest were kinda not great.
Oh no.
Unlike the other two dreamers, Hera
Hi, Balvier. Do you play Hollow Knight? I did play Hollow Nest. If you want to look on my channel playlists, I have a whole series of me playing the game for over a year for the first time. And now that I finished the game, I'm going back to understand the lore, and I missed everything.
Hera needed to be convinced in order to help the Pale King. Hera would eventually agree to become a dreamer in exchange for a child. The Pale King agreed, and the two engaged
Yeah.
in a dalliance, which is a fancy way of saying they totally wrong.
A dalliance. I see.
The White Lady was okay with this arrangement. In fact, she might have been watching from the closet.
No! She's into voyeurism! No! No! Okay, so I learned a new one. Do you play on PC because you can install mods? I don't generally like playing with mods, but yes, I did play on PC. Not the cuck chair!
The motive behind Hera's request is never elaborated on, but it appears as though the King of Deep Nest
My
was
ears, my
dead at
mind,
this
I know,
point.
right?
Hera was a common bug, so perhaps she desired the Pale King's pale seed so that her child could be of high birth.
She's a common bug? But then, didn't they say that the dreamers were like higher beings? Like they were special? That's why they became dreamers? If she had the qualifications to become a dreamer in the first place, then she's not a common bug. She just felt like she was a common bug. Maybe it's because she had low self-esteem. Cause me too, girl, me too.
The bargain
You can
between
install
Hera
skin
and the Pale
mods?
King
Oh,
resulted in
I
the
don't do
birth
those
of
things.
Hornet. She became known as the Jedi
Yeah, she's a
Child
queen.
because unlike the Pale King's other children, Hornet was not hollowed out by the Abyss.
Mm.
Hera and Hornet spent little time together, as Hera had to make good on her end of the bargain. And so the three dreamers were put to rest. Through their actions, a seal was placed over the black egg, prohibiting entrance into the chamber. These dreamers also had their own protection. At the base of Lurian's spire, the Watcher Knights guarded access to their master's body. Modemon's body was protected.
I remember that part. I think that was a hard one. I think that was a hard battle. It took me like 5 to 20 times trying those. Guumi, look dang well that rich people are necessarily competent. You are right. Oh my gosh. But then this is a queen with low self-esteem. It's a cool theory that Hornet was raised by 3 queens. How so? Where is the evidence? The Watcher Knights were challenging until I got the rhythm. 20 times they killed me over 100. Oh my gosh, I don't remember. It took less than 2 or 3 streams. So I think that one wasn't too bad.
Protected by a giant jellyfish named Umu.
Umu!
On top of this, Motomon entrusted her servant Quirrell with a mask which would be required to break an additional seal she had placed over herself. So she basically is double wrapping herself. As for Hera, we're not really sure what protected her, since it is never actually seen in-game. We don't know where this creature is hiding, but whoever it is, they really suck at their job. Now,
I think she
there appears to be
died.
one more
The
element
Guardian
to the Pale
died.
King's plan, involving the Weavers. Hidden away in the Weaver's den is an incomplete seal of binding, woven from silk. This design prominently features the Hollow Knight's head, and can be found in the White Palace, as well as blocking the exit during the Hollow Knight fight.
Blocking the... Okay, so this is a seal of Hollow Knight. And the Weaver's part is incomplete. What does that mean, though? The one that gave birth, the other has nurture, and the other that trains? I don't know what that means.
Silk spools created by the Weavers can be found in the Stag Station in Deep Nest, as well as the Stag Station next to the White Palace.
Oh, why?
These spools can also be found in the Pale King's workshop. We know that the Weavers were closely tied to Hera and Hornet, so their actions might have been a part of the deal between the Pale King and Hera. Once the Hollow Knight...
So, those Weavers also was trying to protect, like, make a spell to protect their dreamer. Like, all the other dreamers had ways of protecting themselves. Also, what is this thingy? I don't remember seeing this thingy. But maybe I'm just forgetful, or maybe I'm just blind. The Weavers, yes.
Night was ready, the Radiance was somehow channeled into the
Yeah, they didn't
vessel,
get to it on
which
time.
was then placed inside of a giant black egg located in the Forgotten Crossroads.
Yeah.
This egg was built to sustain the Hollow Knight, and itself appears to be fashioned from void. The Hollow Knight was chained up, and the entrance to the black egg was locked behind a powerful seal created by the three dreamers.
He's definitely a grower.
Initially, this convoluted plan actually worked, and the infection was successfully contained. Memorials to the Hollow Knight and the Dreamers were erected in the City of Tears and the Resting Grounds. But this is the part of the story where things get a little bit hazy. By the time these statues were constructed, citizens had taken to writing on parchment woven from spider silk, which was all destroyed when water started pouring down onto the city.
Silk get destroyed by what? They're like, they have paper, but it's not paper. It's silk. Spider silk. And those get destroyed by water. Oh, this is like the burning of the Library of Alexandria, but for Hollow Knight.
We don't know how long the Hollow Knight was able to completely contain the infection. Bugs from Dirtmouth used to go to the Temple of the Black Egg to pray, saying they felt at peace within the walls. But after a while, they stopped going, perhaps indicating that the infection was beginning to leak out again.
Oh no.
The infectious air continued to seep through Halnest for years,
It drowned,
eventually
yeah.
even reaching the deepest parts of the kingdom. As it turns out, the Pale King's pure vessel wasn't quite so pure after all.
Yeah.
The Hollow Knight had been tarnished by an idea instilled. While the game never explicitly tells us what that idea was, it does hint strongly at what it might be. Hidden away in the White Palace is a memory showing the Hollow Knight and the Pale King sharing a moment. The Hollow Knight might have developed a parental bond to the Pale King. And who could blame it? The Pale King is a pretty great dad after all.
No, he wasn't! No!
If you ignore the infanticide and everything.
He wasn't a good dad! Oh man. That's what I'm saying, right? The fact that the Pale King, raised the Hollow Knight for so long before trapping the Radiance inside his brain hole, that was the reason why he developed a feeling of sorts. He has daddy issues because his daddy never liked him. He just like, oh, you are here for a reason. And he's like, but no, I want to make you proud. Wee.
Remember those smug mushroom
He's just a kid who's
dickheads?
posing sheltered and
Well,
he
it
was
turns out their
famous.
trust in the Pale King was a complete mistake. That shared mind isn't looking too good now, is it? In the fungal core, the corpse of a giant mushroom lies dormant. Its final thoughts were, Pale Worm, what good to see a demise unavoidable?
Wait, Pale Worm, what good to foresee a demise on... Oh, okay, so this is like saying that the worms had clairvoyance and they could see the future. So he's like, but then the worms still die out. So what's the point? If to see the future, if you're just gonna die anyways. That's what I was saying in the beginning too. Listen to soundtrack, Hollow Knight is beautiful. Yes, Hollow Knight's very beautiful.
This could imply that the Pale King always knew that his kingdom was doomed.
Oh.
All he could do was delay the inevitable. This is likely the moment when Hallownest, as it once was, entirely collapsed. The Hollow Knight had not completely stopped the infection, and while it may have taken a while, Hallownest was eventually brought low. It's at this point that characters and areas begin to resemble as we know them in-game. When it became clear that the Hollow Knight
everyone
was
went
not
crazy.
able to contain the Radiance, the Pale King resorted to his final plan. He fucked off, hiding himself.
Well, that's one way of solving the problem. He just left. So, okay, so he did the thing, and he was still like ruling the Pale King. I mean, he put the Hollow Knight into the black egg to seal the Radiance infection, but it didn't work, and so he just left when it started leaking. It's like, oh no, the container breached. What am I gonna do? I left. God, if you need more content, install the Pale Court mod. More charms and a lot more bosses. Oh boy. That's a lot. I don't think I need more content, because according to this video, I missed like 50% of everything. I think my completion percentage at the end of my playthrough was like 89% or something.
Himself, his White Palace, and his Pale Court in the dream world. At this point, all of the furniture in the palace was covered under white sheets, similar to how people in the real world
He
cover
went
their
for
furniture
milk and
while
cigarettes,
away
the
on
only
long trips.
cure, yeah.
The palace was also completely covered with thorns and buzzsaws, similar to how people in the real world cover their houses with thorns and buzzsaws.
Oh my gosh, so relatable, fam.
While sitting on his throne in the White Palace. There's no confirmation
You forgot
on
Milas
what
is
killed
30%.
him,
Shut
but
up,
there are a few
Susan.
things to consider. The throne room is incredibly dark compared to the rest of the palace, and the particle effects and ambient track in this room are identical to that of the Abyss. All of the king's molds surrounding the Pale King are dead. The ancient basin itself also has become stained with the presence of void, as it can be seen as high as the rundown elevator shaft leading back to the city. Remember that bug that was
So the
sealed away in
void
the
is
abyss to make sure the
also
lighthouse wasn't
expanding.
turned off? Well, the lighthouse was turned off.
Oh no.
I guess that whole living with purpose thing is a crock of shit after all.
Oh no.
It seems as though the Sea of Void itself actually convinced
Stinky
this bug
no.
to betray his king and turn off the lighthouse. Now I know what you're thinking.
Oh no.
Exactly how conscious is the void?
I mean, it's
Is the void
tentacles.
able to think for itself? Can it form strategies? Does it host a podcast? Well, according to
Hey, podcast, Void Podcast here. My name is Void, and welcome to Void Podcast. Today, we're gonna try to get out of this abyss. And, we failed again today. Well, see you until the next podcast. Void out. Oh man, I could imagine a Void podcast of him just jumping out of the void. A little at a time. He gets better every time. How far did you make it into the game? I finished the game. I beat the Radiance. I just missed a lot of things. We'll ask that guy to turn the light off for us. Exactly. And it's like, the guy's like, no, I will not turn the light off for you. And it's like, but pretty please? Oh, okay. If you say it like that, then I'll turn the light off for you.
this Chozo statue
Yeah, we'll see you
ripoff,
get it next time.
The void is powerful, but not unified. So while it can thrash around at things that come near it, or call out in unison to turn off a light, it's not a single conscious being.
Oh.
Getting back to the Pale King,
So it's one of those podcasts with multiple guests, because they're not a hive mind. So it's like at least 3 to 5 podcast hosts, or maybe it's a lot of podcast hosts that wrote on a rotation every other episode. You know what I'm saying? 80% technically, 15 on mine. Yeah. I got about 89% after I finished the game, but since I forgot so much, yeah. My brain only holds so much. I don't have a very big brain. I should have been the Hollow Knight because my brain is mostly empty. There's one single brain cell rattling up there. As you can see, the blue thing on top of my head, that is my brain cell. So it's big enough to hold the radiance, I'm pretty sure.
Could argue that the Void might have played a role in his ultimate demise, and I've argued that viewpoint in the past.
Guumi simp for— I do not simp for Radiance. What are you talking about? I just call her a goth moth mommy. I didn't say anything about liking it.
But we have to remember that there isn't enough
Hi, Spy
evidence to
Kirby.
know for sure. As an expert lawyer and a good friend of mine, Johnny Cochran, once said,
Lawyer?
"Any evidence that the Void was involved in the Pale King's death is circumstantial. My name is Johnny Cochran." Just above the white path.
What does that mean? So we don't know what killed the Pale King, but we think it's the Void. But a good lawyer acquitted the Void, and therefore we can't really say it. We can only say allegedly. God home? What if the Radiance streamed? Oh my gosh, that would be so funny. Did people make VTuber models out of like the Radiance model? Maybe I could probably do that. Oh, VTuber send super chats to Radiance. No, never. I will say no to that every time. You cannot pin that on me. Just like this John Cochran guy. There is no evidence to suggest such a thing. No. Tier 3 sub? No.
Alice, the bugs in the City of Tears weren't faring much better. Even if we ignore the fact that the infection was still around, there were other issues that helped lead to the city's downfall. Due to the gates being sealed, some
Ew,
bugs
this
resorted
place!
to cannibalism in order to avoid starvation. And there's also that metric fuck
If the shadow do not hang over the corpse, you must acquit. Exactly.
ton of corpses lining the walls of the Soul Sanctum. When all was said and done, the only citizen left standing
I remember
is
this
Eternal
chick.
Annalita, who just laughs her ass off about it like she's a fucking Dark Souls character. The White Lady ends up in a cocoon deep within the Queen's gardens. She decided to place bindings on herself in order to keep her from spreading her seed. She claims that this is
Chastity belt. That whole the wrapping thing is a chastity belt, chat.
because of the shame she feels in helping the Pale King create the vessels. But honestly, it's probably just her kink.
She's into bondage. This moss bag guy literally has no chill.
The White Lady also diminished her power, possibly as a way to keep herself hidden from unwanted visitors. Outside her cocoon, Dryia stood guard, protecting her queen from the violent traitor mantises. Dryia is eventually
traitor
killed off by
mantis.
these bugs, which is actually pretty pathetic if you think about it.
Yeah, I know,
mean,
right?
We're talking like the Netgear WPN824N N150 wireless router pathetic. Speaking of
A what?
great knights dying pathetically, let's move on to Hagamol. Hagamol held the city crest, a
Hagamol?
key used to open one of the gates to the City of Tears. At some point, Hagamol's armor shell was stolen by a maggot.
Oh,
Now, maggots were generally looked down upon and forced to do menial labor.
I remember. This was the false knight. So that wasn't the actual knight, obviously, because it's called the false knight. That was the first boss in Hollow Knight. For some reason, I still remember this face. Because that was the first boss. That was like the second or third stream I ever did, and that was a year ago.
They were incredibly weak and basically deserved all of the discrimination they got. But this one maggot decided to turn the tide, so he stole Hagamol's shell.
Second? Really?
So that
What was
he
the
could
first
defend
one?
His downtrodden brothers. His actions weren't motivated by the infection. but
That's so
instead was the
cute.
result of
Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Can I have one, chat? They look so pathetic. They give off Chikawa energy, if you guys know what Chikawa is.
how hierarchical caste systems will always lead to revolution from the working class, and that true freedom can only be achieved blah blah blah, capitalism is bad, subscribe to my Patreon. Ogre moved to the royal water.
Yeah, capitalism bad. By the way, like and subscribe and give me money. Oh yeah, Chikawa, yeah. You can find them mourning the false night. Oh, I never saw them. That was so cute. Yeah, hi. Thank you, Chantel, for coming. You have a good night.
Waterways and started living in shit, changing his name to Dung Defender. Now I love wallowing in shit as much as the next guy, but you'd have to really love shit to put up with living with the flukes. The Dung Defender kept an unwavering sense of duty and loyalty to the king, and love for his fellow knights.
He made his
So much so that
statues
he
out
made
of
shit
poop.
statues of them. How nice. Ogrim acted as the defender of the pipeways, as well as Isma's grove. A section of the royal waterways became filled with acid, and in the middle of it all rests Isma's corpse,
Mountain Dew!
which has been overcome by plant life. Isma is likely the one responsible for this acid blight, but we have no idea what happened to her. Hornet's whereabouts during the—
Well, maybe she's still alive. Are we sure she's dead? Maybe she's like, you know, in a deep sleep, protecting the area. I wouldn't know. I've been there and I don't know.
this time are fairly mysterious. We know that she departed Deep Nest and didn't return until the events of the game. At some point, she took to guarding Halnest from intruding warriors, as well as the cast-off shell in the Kingdom's Edge. Despite the Kingdom's woes at large, fortunately this fate did not befall one of the fandom's favorite characters. The Menderbugs continued to fix the broken signs and wayposts of Halnest. From a diary entry, we can see that one Menderbug in particular had found himself on the precipice of a long and loving relationship.
Really?
Hello again, diary. Not long now until the next Minder Bash. For us stealthy types, we're a riotous bunch when we get together, and Minderberry kept flashing me that smile.
Oh my
It might
god!
be time to muster my courage and act on it.
Wait, is this
I love
canon?
my home and my life, but sharing it with another? Why, that'd be the berry on top.
Greenpath also underwent some changes during this
Wait! Oh, he just left it like that. What do you mean? Was there another Menderbug? Is this canon? Can I go see it?
time. The Mosskin were waiting for Un's call, which would bring them back into the dream they were originally born from. But for some reason, Un's strength deteriorated. We don't know why this happened exactly.
Mender lady,
Was it due
yeah.
to the White Lady claiming part of her kingdom? Was it somehow due to the infection? Some Mosskin believe that Un went into hiding, but it appears as though Un is, in fact, calling to her children. But many of the Mosskin are unable to hear her call. Instead, many Mosskin seem to have taken the Radiance's infection into their leaves, which might explain why Greenpath became overgrown with vegetation despite Un's deteriorating powers. Mossy vagabonds even openly chose to forsake Un and worship the Radiance.
What's this? I remember this. I remember the this infected snail moss thingy majig, but I didn't really understand it. Mossy vagabonds. They got infected by the Radiance? Then they wouldn't be considered worshipping the Radiance, right? They were just infected. They didn't have a choice. Their minds. They got infected in the mind. He kept speaking nonsense. Oh, I love a Guumi is like no idea what's happening all the time. Thanks.
Another tribe to be screwed over by the Radiance is the Hive, which fell to the infection after the death of their leader, Hive Queen Vespa.
Oh! Did I remember that their queen is dead? I think I did figure that the queen is dead afterwards. But then what is this? What is this lady? Is that the body of the queen?
But it appears as though this had little effect on their civilization. The Radiance's hive mind was already familiar to the bees, since the hive probably operated under something similar already.
True,
So in
true.
other words, the hive probably made
dialogue
out the
says so,
best in this whole situation. Let's turn our attention back to the moths.
Okay, so the bees were like fine. They just got different hive-minded, which I guess makes sense. But it's still honey though, right? It's not the moss's orange juice? Well, back in the hive, that would make more sense. They were still like, we're still sharing a hive mind. It doesn't matter.
After all, it's their god that keeps killing everybody. Well, the moth tribe didn't fare too well, actually, as pretty much the entire tribe died out. The only known survivor is the seer. Despite the loss of her tribe, the seer continued to tend to the graves in the resting grounds.
Their eyes aren't orange at least, but the queen thanks us for beating her loyal knight at last so he gets to rest. Oh. So she's like, everyone should just die because I'm dead. Is that what she was saying?
While also waiting the arrival of the Wielder, a mysterious being that her tribe has dreamt of for a while.
Also, the moths are also clairvoyant. They're also seers. Ah.
In the kingdom's edge, the land became covered in ash melting off of the worm's decomposing corpse. The Colosseum of Fools continued to thrive. The Lord Fool passed away at some point, but nobody really seems to notice or even care.
Yeah, and these bugs are not infected. The people who come in to do the Colosseum, they're not infected. And they don't seem to care about the infection that's actively growing in this area. Strange.
The fools inside the Colosseum
only one
were
ever took up
infected,
arms?
but still seem to have maintained control over themselves. It seems possible that these bugs took in the infection willingly, similar to the Trader Lord and his followers. This would have given them an edge in combat, similar to using steroids, but without the whole shrinking testicles thing. However, even the Trader Lord and his followers went mad, so what makes these fools any more special?
The spring?
As for the Pale King's champion, the Pale Lurker, well, she just went the normal kind of
That's a
insane.
girl?
There appears to have been another unforeseen event with the Pale King's plan. When the Hollow Knight was originally chosen, the door to the Abyss was sealed, trapping the discarded vessels within.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
Apparently,
That's
some
a girl,
vessels
I know,
didn't get
right?
the memo. Vessel
Jesus
corpses can be
Christ.
found littered throughout the kingdom.
Okay,
There's
okay.
one in the Ancient Basin,
Oh,
one
yeah?
in Green Path, and several trapped in Nosk's lair and Deep Nest.
Oh. Now I see them. Wow. So there's several that escaped. How? Is a better option to steroids? Ugh, where am I gonna get some of that orange juice infection? Maybe I do like orange juice now.
Another vessel that escaped from the Abyss is the player character, the Knight.
Nice.
The exact details on how the vessels escaped the Abyss is unclear.
Yeah.
There are indications that they might have slipped into Deep Nest through some old passageway, given void influences in part of the area, and all the corpses found in Nosk's lair. At some point, all entrances to Hollow Nest were closed off, with the old well-endured mouth being the only way to sneak back in.
Oh.
Despite this, several people have wormed their way into the kingdom.
Wormed?
with few
Get it?
ever
Wormed?
returning. Characters like Relic Seeker
We don't have any
Lem
idea?
seem content to just pillage artifacts from the ruined kingdom. But other bugs seemed interested in
Oh,
something
what's that? I
greater.
don't think I've ever been
In the
here.
Howling Cliffs rests the corpse of a member of the Grim Troop. The task of this bug appears to have been to seek out Hollow Nest, so that the troop might be summoned to the kingdom in the future. The Grim Troop are basically a group of bugs that serve a higher being known as the Nightmare Heart.
Nightmare
The troop
heart.
keeps the heart alive by feeding on the nightmares of fallen kingdoms.
Oh.
This process also involves sacrificing the troop master to his own child because...
Huh?
Hey, look at this cool ass boss battle.
Their eyes are orange, which makes them infected? Question mark. But they feed off dying kingdoms, which means that this is the last kingdom, right? According to the little tablet that was talking earlier, that this is the last civilization. So that means this is their last source of food, and it's infected. It is gone bad. Maybe that's making them crazy as well? That this troop is also gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? No, not Cocoa Puffs. Orange juice? They're a whole different thing? Yeah.
Another important group that traveled to Hollow Nest are the God Seekers.
Oh, the God Seekers!
After being
I
abandoned by
missed
their
this
old
one too.
gods, the gods of thunder and the gods of rain.
Wait,
These
what?
bugs left their home in the land of storms, seeking out a new god to worship. The God Seekers look to gods to save them from their own silent mind.
That makes sense. God Seekers seek gods to worship. That makes sense. This guy, this DLC is cool. Oh. Don't worry, they were never sent to begin with. Oh. That means nothing changed, right? Just like the bees, they got infected, but nothing changed because they're already like that.
While traveling through the wastelands, the God Seekers constructed devices called God Tuners, which helped them seek out new gods.
That looks
Through
like
this
bondage
device,
to me.
They were able to detect the lingering power of the Pale King and find their way to Hollow Nest. When they
Oh.
arrived, however, the God Seeker was forced into hibernation.
Why?
She was encased in a strange sarcophagus-like cocoon,
By who?
which was itself chained up with a lock. It's not clear how this forced hibernation worked,
Yeah.
seeing as the cocoon appears to have been made by the God Seeker herself.
How do you do that to yourself?
I think the most likely candidate is the Dung Defender, considering how the Godseeker's cocoon is found in the junk pit in the waterways, an area the Dung Defender has tasked himself with protecting.
Oh.
This was the general picture.
This is like an Egyptian sarcophagus themed, mummy-esque themed DLC I see. Every is kinky for you or something? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what I'm seeing. I didn't say anything about being into it or anything. No. Sarcophagus is in the dump at the west of the Royal Waterways. If I have the DLC, I would have saw the sarcophagus, or do I have to activate the DLC before I could see the sarcophagus? Did I miss it, or did I not activate the DLC, or do I not have the DLC? What's the answer here?
Of Hallownest after the Hollow Knight was sealed inside the Temple of the Black Egg. The kingdom was stuck in a kind of stasis, with the Pale King civilization destroyed,
Couldn't
and
before,
the
I
Radiance
think.
unable to break free from her chains.
Is there, but you miss it?
The Pale
What?
King was rebelling against nature, trying to keep his work standing indefinitely.
Hi, Mel. Welcome. Hello. Happy Friday, or maybe Saturday for you in the future.
The stasis over Hallownest held for an age. How long is that exactly? Well, we have no idea. As I'm sure you've noticed, there really isn't a timeline for anything that happens in this game.
That's true.
We also have no idea how long
Happy
any of these
Friday.
bugs can actually live.
This one lives
Elderbug
forever.
wasn't around to see the stagways open, but we know several other characters were, implying that Elderbug is probably one of the youngest characters in the whole game.
So it's
But
a
this stasis
misnomer.
over Hallownest wasn't going to last forever. At some point, the Radiance erupted out of the Hollow Knight, cracking its shell and releasing a loud and powerful roar. The amount of infection leaking out of the Hollow Knight became even greater.
Oh
The
no!
many corpses that lined the roads and cities of the kingdom sprang to life with the amplified power of the infection.
Oh no!
This strengthened
That's what's
infection
happened
prompted the
in the
departure of
Forgotten
Weavers back
Railway.
to their-
How's everyone? Hope y'all doing well. Yes, I'm doing well. It is Friday, so I'm chillin'. JonTron where? Hi, Ethan. Welcome. You can see all purchase DLC in the main menu of the game. So maybe I don't have it. Or maybe I just never explored the main menu. Because that's the type of person I am. I don't explore anything ever, apparently. Because I missed a whole bunch of stuff, apparently, according to this video. Everything's cracking well. How are you, Mel? Yeah. We're
their old
cracking
home. Now,
from
this
the
old home
orange
might
juice.
actually be Farloom, the kingdom in which Hollow Knight Silksong takes place. But the amount of knowledge we have about Silksong right now is
Silksong!
pathetic, so I'm not saying that's confirmed or anything.
Dude, this video is 5 years old, and we got this much footage about Silksong 5 years ago? I'm so sorry for the people who've been waiting for Silksong for 5 years. I like to hear that. Great. Let me walk forward to get juice box and then eat. The DLC by default are active if you missed them. Okay, I guess I'm just blind. You should have seen the subreddit. Oh no. It's been ages. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for you guys. I came in super late.
This is also around the time that Quirrell arrives back in Hallownest. His memory of Motomon appears to have been clouded due to his time outside of Hallownest. These events are depicted in the Quirrell prequel comic, which also shows an image of the Hollow Knight with a pre-cracked shell. This could mean that Quirrell's arrival happens roughly the same time the Hollow Knight's shell cracks.
Oh, okay, so this was a comic. What are we learning about? We're learning about the lore of Hollow Knight, as shown, I think, in the title screen. The title of the video, not video, live stream. We're learning, because I played Hollow Knight for over a year, I might as well know what the heck I played. Because I know nothing.
At around the same time Quirrell arrives in Hallownest, we also see the arrival of the player character, who is commonly referred to as the Knight.
It's just
the
me.
Knight was one of
I'm
the
a little
lucky
guy.
vessels that was able to make its way out
Also,
of the
because I
abyss.
lost their power
Somehow, the Knight
finally.
ended up venturing beyond Hallownest and into the wilds beyond. It's implied that the Knight was called to Hallownest by either the sealed Hollow Knight or the Radiance within. Regardless, once the Knight shows up and yeets itself off this cliff, the actual game of Hollow Knight finally begins.
Okay. So this is very unclear. We don't know why our player character go back. And we also don't know why Quirrell went back. but it has something to do with the call of the Radiance? Question mark. But we're a hollow. We're a hollow vessel, but Quirrell is not a hollow vessel. Quirrell is just a normal bug that left of his own free will that he got from the Pale King, which he slowly lost as he was outside Hollownest, but he gained it back after he was in Hollownest for a while. This is complicated. Yeet!
Now, there's a lot of details we could get into. Hollownest is full of NPCs and bosses, each with their own stories to tell. But to be honest, I don't think we need to go through
I did
all
read
of
the
them,
title, I see
since
red
their
ring around
stories are
Guumi picture and I
relatively
click.
straightforward.
Thank
For example,
you, Mail.
Let's look at the Brooding Moloch. So why is the Brooding Moloch brooding? Because all its friends are dead.
Oh no!
And
Why is the Brooding Malik brooding? Because all of his friends are dead. You know what? Valid. In fact, we know our current turn. We do? That's so sad, yeah.
Brooding? Because all its friends are dead. And there you go. That's the lore for the Brooding Moloch.
Absent chat,
Also, it's the
yeah.
only character in the game with a visible asshole.
Nice!
Now, did you really need me to explain that to you? Probably not. So instead, I'm just going to talk about the interactions relating to Hollow Knight's main story. The knight is eventually noticed by Hornet, who lures it deep into Greenpath. There, Hornet attempts to kill the knight,
I remember
claiming that
this.
she knows what it would try to do. At this point, Hornet views the knight as being too weak.
Oh! I remember this
She
fight,
knows what it would try
and I did not see the little dude. I did not even notice the little dude.
to do.
I mean,
At
we
this
do know
point,
if Fluke's
Hornet views
mother's
the knight as being too weak. After the fight,
MILF?
Hornet can be found in the City of Tears, next to the statue of the Hollow Knight. Hornet mentions that the knight has gained a resilience, due to the time it spent in the void beyond Hallownest. This could be referring to the fact that some of those who leave Hallownest lose their memories, meaning the knight would have no memories of its own tragic conception. Hornet tells the knight that if it seeks to continue the stasis that keeps Hallownest standing, it must seek the Graven Ash, which is referring to the Kingdom's Edge. At this moment, Hornet sees the knight as a possible replacement for the Hollow Knight. Basically, the knight could break the seals that keep the Hollow Knight locked away, defeat the Hollow Knight, and contain the infection itself.
But that means that she saw our player character as the killer of her mother. Because we have to kill all the dreamers in order to unseal the Hollow Knight and go and replace him. No matter what happens, if someone is to break the seals, that person has to kill her mother. That's a little sad. And the fact that she lived this whole time, throughout this whole history of having the Night sealed, having the Pale King turn run, having everyone become infected by the leakage of the Radiance orange juice from the brain cavity of the Hollow Knight. She was here for the whole thing. She must be old. Hornet's also a MILF, confirmed? Though she's not a mom, but like she's still old, so she's a hag. Hornet is a hag? Like super old hag? True, yeah. She appears in the boss fight after a certain condition. Yes, oh, we got that. She told you to do so? Yeah, but that's so sad. You have to kill the mother seal, yeah.
It's at this point that I should mention that Hollow Knight actually has 5 different endings. Because
5? What ending is this? Which ending is that one? Also, I saw this one. And I think this is the one that we got, the one where we defeat the Radiance and like Hornet like gets up. She's not dead. We don't know how old she is, young.
Because of course it would. I'm going to be explaining each of these endings in this video, as they each give us a different glimpse into the mechanics of Hollow Knight's world. Now, to get the easiest ending to Hollow Knight, Hornet's instructions to go to the Kingdom's Edge can be ignored completely. If the knight stumbles upon the resting grounds, the 3 dreamers will appear and cast the knight into the dream realm.
That's what happened to me.
Seer will come to the knight's rescue and grant it the Dream Nail.
That's what I see. That's what I saw.
The real world and the dream world.
They're like 14.
With the Dream
What?
Nail, the knight can venture to the resting places of the 3 dreamers curb stomp their asses, and unlock the entrance to the Black Egg.
The Dreamers
Inside
didn't
the
put up
egg,
a fight.
The knight finds the Hollow Knight chained up, silently watching over it. Once the chains are broken, the Hollow Knight screams with that familiar Radiance roar and pursues
Roar!
the knight.
It's our brother, our big bro, our Oni-chan, if you will.
As the fight progresses, the Hollow Knight starts trying to kill itself, Coral style.
I thought he was just emo! He really wanted a KYS? Or... yeah.
But then the Radiance starts using the Hollow Knight's body to perform her own attacks.
Oh,
Once defeated,
that's
the Hollow
why
Knight
that
begins to
thing
spew
happened.
infection all over the place. The Knight can then focus the infection into itself. This results in the first ending of the game, called Hollow
Oh!
Knight. In this ending, the Knight
Remember,
usurps the
you
Hollow
know
Knight,
he failed?
prolonging the
True.
stasis over Hallownest. New chains and bindings appear out of fuck if I know, and contain the Knight, and a new seal is placed over the entrance to the Black Egg. Now there is one giant question looming over this ending.
Where'd the chains
Can
come
the Knight
from?
actually contain the infection indefinitely, or will the Radiance still manage to break free one day?
I think
Before
not.
we answer this question, let's look at some of the other events that can transpire while playing the game.
I think the
If the
little
player
dude
chooses
is...
to go to
I think the little dude has too much in his brain to also contain the Radiance. So he's not a perfect, empty void vessel either. I failed, Dad, yeah.
Kingdom's Edge, Hornet will challenge
So
the Knight
sad.
one last time as a final test of strength.
Oh, I remember this.
After her defeat, Hornet allows the Knight to access the cast-off shell, where the Pale King was originally hatched. By interacting with this egg, the Knight's shell is marked with the King's brand, technically making the Knight the new ruler of Hallownest.
I remember this.
With the King's brand, the Knight can now open
I
the
didn't
entrance
realize
to
that
the
was a
Abyss
carcass
and
still.
discover the place
I
of
didn't
its
realize that was
birth.
an egg.
When leaving the Abyss, the Knight can encounter Hornet again.
I saw
where
this.
For the first time, Hornet suggests that there are actually two outcomes the Knight can enact. She tells the Knight that it can either prolong Hallownest stasis or face the heart of the kingdom's infection. Within the Knight, Hornet sees a chance for change. Instead of just replacing the Hollow Knight, Hornet believes that it may be possible to get rid of the infection completely by using the void inside of the Knight.
How did she come up with that? Good night, Guumi. Enjoy the rest of the video on Hollow Knight. Thank you, Ethan. You have a good night. The art in this game's really good. I know, right? It's really cute. But how did Hornet come to the conclusion that the void inside the Knight is able to destroy the Radiance? I feel like that's kind of a stretch, but the fact that she's been here for a really long time, she probably saw a reason, right?
After visiting the Abyss and obtaining the Shade Cloak, the Knight is capable of reaching the White Lady, hidden away in the Queen's Gardens.
I
The White
remember
Lady
this.
tells the Knight that she has been awaiting a vessel to accept a gift.
Oh?
That gift being one half of a charm called the King's Soul, which she
Oh.
claims will give the Knight more power. The White Lady goes
I
on
remember
to explain
this.
that she can feel the weakening of the Hollow Knight within her roots. She tells the Knight that it is free of the blemishes that made the Hollow Knight a flawed vessel.
Well, she saw us with the King brand facing the void. Also, we have the Dream Nail. But what does that have to do with the void, though?
From this dialogue, it is implied that the Knight truly is a pure vessel, capable of containing the Radiance successfully.
Oh.
But it's not quite that simple, so we're gonna have to dig a bit deeper into this. Basically, we're gonna
But
need
how
to
would
answer a
she
simple
know?
question.
Like, she failed the last time to determine... Well, I guess it might have been just the Pale King who determined that the Hollow Knight was a perfect vessel. So maybe she's more qualified to be able to tell if you're a good vessel? I don't know.
What exactly does it mean to be a Hollow Knight? Despite the White Lady's words, we have a number of instances where the characters and item descriptions
Maybe Hornet was too
mention
young?
that the Knight has a
Oh.
will, and maybe even a mind. But from the Pale King's dialogue when describing the Hollow Knight, it is stated that a pure vessel has no mind or will. So is the White Lady wrong? Or maybe even lying? Her eyes have been clouded by time, and she can be tricked into thinking that Ogrim is in the room when the Knight is wearing the Defender's Crest charm.
Oh!
She also thinks that Drya is still alive, which, So maybe the
the white lady is delusional. She has not stepped out of her bindings in probably a really long time. Oopsies. Just like all the other bugs, right? All the other ghost bugs who still think they're alive and doing the thing that they're doing. And then after you defeat them, they're like, oh, I see now. I've been dead for a long time. Oopsies. And then they disappear. No mouth to cry out, no mind to break, born of God and void. Yeah.
White Lady is just senile. My problem with that theory is that the White Lady states that the vessels stand out to her clearly in a misted world, due to them being her spawn. She also questions whether or not the knight sought her aid, which would imply that the knight must have some kind of will.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, the White Lady thinks the knight is still capable of containing the radiance, even if it's still able to make decisions. After all, the Hollow Knight was considered pure, but they still taught it how to wield a fucking sword.
That's what I'm
if the knight were
saying!
truly and completely hollow
You don't
in a
need to
literal
teach people to
sense,
fight.
It probably shouldn't even be able to walk, or draw
It's
a
not
map,
too
or
Delulu,
open
yeah.
a goddamn bank account.
Yeah! You're smart enough to know how banking works. Well, actually, that's not quite true. Some people in modern society have a bank account and know how to use a bank account, but don't actually know how banks work. So, that's not exactly true. Guumi, you should make a Hollow Knight boss guide video? Oh. I don't know enough.
In short, this whole concept of being hollow is so abstract and hard to define, I don't really feel comfortable giving a solid answer on whether or not the knight is or isn't truly hollow. And I think the game leaves room open for other interpretations. Of course, the White Lady's gift is useless
How to
without
beat
the other
Umu,
half
eat
of the
them.
King's Soul. In order to
True.
reach it, however, the knight must travel to the White Palace, locked inside the body of a King's Mold. In order to bypass
King's
the
Mold.
seal, the knight must use a fully awakened dream nail. It can do this by bringing 1800 essence to the seer, allowing her
did
to
this.
sharpen the weapon's blade.
I
If the knight
remember
does
I
the
did
seer
this.
remarks that the knight truly is the wielder that her tribe has been dreaming of. There's no explicit reason why the Moth tribe was dreaming about this supposed wielder so much, but it seems like they believe the wielder would wash away the crimes the Moth tribe committed by turning their backs on the Radiance.
Okay, hold on. So originally the Moths were already worshipping the Radiance. Does that mean they were already orange juice-ified? Like they were pre-infected in a controlled way? Or was the Radiance only a infection problem after she got sealed? No. After she got forgotten and then remembered by that one little cult thing they were talking about, and then that became a problem to the Pale King because she started appearing in other people's dreams. But before then, she was not an infectious problem because the moths were together? Hi, Sashan. Hello. Good luck with the stream. Thank you. This infection born her hate? Makes sense. That she wasn't a problem until after people forgot about her, and then she started entering people's dreams. So, I guess it is their fault. If we think about it this way, it is the Moth's fault why the Radiance infection became a problem. Yep. We know who to blame now. I would say Moths were worshipping Radiance, so it wasn't infecting them. Choose intention.
The seer seems to know that the knight might kill the Radiance, and she seems
The seer isn't
accepting of it,
infected.
ready for her and her tribe to disappear and be forgotten forever. With the awoken dream nail in hand, the knight can travel to the Pale King's refuge and locate the other half of the King's Soul charm. When equipped, the King's Soul provides a never-ending supply of soul, making it almost useful if it weren't for the insanely high cost of the charm, and the painfully slow rate at which it increases, and the fact that the charm will get replaced in about 5 minutes after you get it. The King's Soul charm itself symbolizes the union between two higher beings.
It's the snoo-snoo! It's the snoo-snoo! Yeah, I I got it replaced with the black one almost immediately. So I didn't even know what the white one did. They're dead, yeah. And the void heart charm is more than useless.
To
Oh,
me, this implies that the king soul is a representation of a vessel, which also was created by the union of two higher beings. With the king soul in their inventory, the knight now gains access to an area in the abyss called the birthplace. In this massive pile of vessel shells, the knight can find a giant egg. Dream nailing the egg allows the knight to access its own memory when it was cast down into the abyss. From viewing that memory, the king soul charm is replaced with the void heart charm.
I've done this and I have no memory of this. I can't believe I've canonically done this because I have the void heart charm and none of this registered in my brain. Well, you can cheese a lot of bosses the white seal. Oh, how?
The recollection of this event allows the knight to come to terms with the void inside itself. Once the knight has the void heart, the shades in the abyss no longer attack it, and that strange creature that gives the knight the shade cloak calls it the Lord of Shades.
Oh. So, when they say that the player character came to terms with the void inside him, I got none of that when I was playing. Again, charge is too slow. Better just hit him to get soul. Yeah. Stall and spam spells. Oh, but it's so slow. You'll have to wait like 15 minutes per spell.
In other words, the knight has now bound the once fragmented void under its own will, allowing it to control the void in a powerful new way.
Wait a minute. Did he say that because he saw the memory of his own birth here in the abyss, he came to terms with his own void, and therefore gained the power of the void heart, which made him able to control the void inside him? Okay, because the other void vessels were not sentient enough to understand that they have void and therefore were not able to control it? Does that mean that the Hollow Knight, who has sentience, more sentience, also understood the void inside him? Or was he only caring about the radiance inside him to be able to use the void inside him? So the Hollow Knight did not come to terms with the void, but we did, and therefore we can control it? Is that all it takes? We dream now ourselves. Oh, okay. Yesent? What do you mean, yesent? That's so confusing. Oh, couldn't be why Hornet sees us as different. He didn't have the dream now to peer into himself. True. But, like, the whole problem was we didn't remember our past, but I felt like the Hollow Knight knew about his past and had the memory the entire time. That's what I think, at least. Because if the Hollow Knight did not have any memories, he wouldn't have the ability to remember, hey, that's his father. He's building memories with his father and wanting to please his father. And when he got stored away, he still remembered how to fight with a sword. So the Hollow Knight should remember that he came from the void. I mean, not the void, the abyss, right? Did you see the Path of Pain ending? No. I avoided the Path of Pain because the normal path was already pain. To me, at least. I'm very bad at the game. If you dream now, he repaid. Don't think. We know the HK has mind. Yeah.
With the union of the Void, the Pale King, and the White Lady, the Knight has gained a strength before unseen. It is with this charm that 2 additional endings become unlocked.
Okay.
Hornet will now be standing outside of the Black Egg, offering to help the Knight should the opportunity arrive. Midway through the fight with the Hollow Knight, Hornet rushes into battle, subduing the Hollow Knight and piercing its shell. It's at this point that the Knight is given the perfect opportunity to enter into the mind of its sibling, fighting the source of the infection head on, and finally putting an end to the Radiance's tyranny. or I can just stand there and let Hornet get knocked unconscious. If the knight finishes
I
off
did
the
that
Hollow Knight
accidentally
as
once.
usual, the sealed sibling ending occurs. Basically, it's the same as the Hollow Knight ending, but now Hornet is in the room too, and her face appears on the door of the black egg. It's not clear what exactly this means for Hallownest. This might imply that Hornet is now a dreamer, but she's inside the temple, meaning that no one can actually get in there to kill her should the knight ever start leaking infection. At the same time, Hornet
Oh, I never got this ending, but I kind of made the mistake of having her, get unconscious one time when I was trying to fight the Radiance. Music is peak, yeah.
mentions that the bindings of the black egg would drain her, so she's probably just going to die anyway, right?
That's what I
Generally,
thought.
people consider this to be one of the worst endings, but it's worth pointing out that Team Cherry doesn't support any one ending as being the true ending. Each ending is canonical in its own right, and honestly, this ending isn't the worst. At least the Knight and Hornet will get to spend some quality time together. If the Knight does dream of the Hollow Knight, it will be taken to an arena where it can finally fight the Radiance head-on.
That's what I've been doing the whole time. The Knight was stranding around the world until the Hollow Knight had started to fail his duty. Little Ghost felt a strange desire to holler. Makes sense. Well, Silk Song exists, so makes sense it's not canon. That's true. Well, no, because Silk Song is a prequel, if I remember correctly. I didn't read too much about Silk Song, but I thought Silk Song was supposed to be a prequel to Hollow Knight. So, it could still be canon. I know the Hollow Knight is a dream. Nail dialogue. Do not think, do not speak, do not hope, do not. Well, he's hoping to not think. He's hoping to not hope, but he's failing because he's thinking and he's hoping. It's like copium, Desire to change it as the vessel.
But the Knight isn't alone, as the other shades from the Abyss will appear in order to help corner the Radiance.
Oh.
Eventually, the Radiance gets trapped in the tendrils of the Void. The Knight bitch slaps her a couple times, and then the Radiance is consumed into the darkness. The black egg then appears to turn to shadows, and the Void seeps down into the ground. Hornet awakens to find the Knight's broken shell lying on the floor. We get one final shot of the shades in the Abyss going to rest, and the game is over. This ending is called the Dream No More ending. The Radiance is gone, and Hallownest is finally free from her infection.
So it's just a desire, not actually memories? I guess. I always thought desires come from memories. The remembrance, you gotta remember to want it if you want it. Otherwise you forget, just like me. I forget things all the time. Like, I forget to pee all the time. Like, I want to pee or I need to pee sometimes, and then I would get distracted by something, and then I never pee. I stop remembering that I needed to pee for like 2-3 hours, and then I'm like, oh wait, I needed to pee, and so I go and do it. So you have to have memory in order to want something. Aha! If we don't have a memory, we don't think. Exactly. So, I'm sorry for my English. No worries, I understand.
Now I think it's fair to ask a few questions about how the Dream No More ending comes about. When the Hollow Knight was initially chosen to become the pure vessel, the Abyss was sealed up and the rest of the vessels were left to rot away. But somehow, vessels ended up outside of the Abyss.
That's my
And
question.
one of those vessels was used to replace the Hollow Knight. Exactly how much of this operation was planned, if at all? The White Lady was waiting for a vessel. Did she have any communication with Hornet? Hornet was guarding the King's Brand, the only way for a vessel to enter the Abyss. How did she know it was necessary to guard the King's Brand from weaker vessels? Hell, if the vessels did escape the Abyss by themselves, wouldn't it be pointless to guard the King's Brand, since the vessels could just creep back into the Abyss the same way? I'm not going to provide any good answers to these questions, because God forbid I answer anything in this entire video. But I do want to point out that no plans to actually produce the Dream No More ending are explicitly stated in-game. So we can only speculate as to whether or not the White Lady or Hornet, or maybe even the Pale King, knew that they could defeat the Radiance by creating a Lord of Shades, like the Knight. Regardless, the next two endings were definitely not planned.
More
In
endings?
fact, the last two endings that were added in the Godmaster update
We don't know that's a
almost
magic
feel
game.
out of place. The Godseekers basically hijack everything to the point where you don't even have to enter the Temple of the Black Egg to beat the game. That's like beating Mario Bros without ever seeing Bowser. But on the
That's
other
not
hand,
Bowser!
the Godmaster endings basically reinforce that Hollow Nest does not exist in a vacuum,
It's a peak ending.
which can help the world of Hollow Knight feel more real. Because what else is reality but just a bunch of random chaotic stuff happening all the time? If the knight finds the Godseeker in the junk pit, it will be able to enter her mind and refight all the bosses in the game. This is part of the Godseeker's ritual.
All of
They
it?
basically attune to the resonance of gods through ritual combat. This allows them to ascend their minds higher, and eventually, through the use of godly focus, achieve communication with the god sleeping in Hollow Nest's heart.
Oh
the
my god.
Radiance. Now I know what you're thinking. That's a pretty convoluted.
Wait a minute. All the bosses, I love it. No. Wait a like, if it's true that this is all the bosses, what if you missed some of the bosses like I did? Like, I missed a couple of the bosses. And it says it's using your memories to reproduce these bosses. If you missed those bosses, do you just not fight them? Then why do you get to see the Radiance? Because they said that you don't even have to enter the Black Egg to get to this ending. Then why would the Radiance be here? Because you have to enter the Black Egg and defeat the Hollow Knight, in order to see the Radiance at all. So, what kind of Radiance is this in your mind? I'm not finished the challenge, all 4 marks at the same time. Oh, I recommend to try to beat the Path of Pain. It would be fun for stream. Besides, there is the explanation why the Hollow Knight failed. But how long did it take me to beat the not Path of Pain? Like 3 streams? No, it was like 2 streams actually. It wasn't too bad. No, it was definitely like more than 2 streams. It's only 1 thumbnail, but it was more than 2 streams. Must beat all the bosses to get these endings. Oh, so you do have to beat them. But what about the Radiance? You cannot beat the Radiance if you don't enter the Black Egg. We're in a higher plane to tune with the god. Maybe it also adds the Godseeker's way to pop in the bosses, because no matter what, the Radiance is there. I guess.
Little religious practice they have going on here. What's next? Are they gonna start measuring the knight's Theon levels?
What's
it's
Theon?
pretty complicated, but the point is, these Godseekers have some serious capabilities to fuck things up in Hollow Nest, as we're about to see. As the night makes it further and further through the 4 pantheons, the Godseekers get closer and closer to making contact with the Radiance, locked away inside the Hollow Knight. At the end of the 4th pantheon, the Radiance makes herself aware in this strange reunion cutscene between the vessels. But she isn't the only one to make an appearance. The Void itself appears to go on the attack, rising up to meet the Radiance's call. It's at this point that the final challenge, the Pantheon of Hollow Nest, becomes available. The Godseeker finally acknowledges the knight as being more than just a simple cringer. And they begin to watch the knight more intently, after defeating like a bazillion bosses in the final pantheon.
So... What? What? That's when it's actually easier. I would say you can equip Hive Blood and never unalive. That's true. That's how I beat the not Path of Pain, the other path, using the Hive Blood thing. It took me forever though. 43 fights in a row. 43? Oh man. How long? For the people who did the Godseeker path, how long did it take you to beat it, if you did beat it? Or if you didn't beat it, how far did you get? And how long did you take to get there? All the bosses in a row bred the vessel and then the Radiance. And if you die, you need to restart. Restart from the beginning? Like 15 minutes if you're good? No way! Even the speed run for Radiance itself was like 15 minutes, right? There are 3 new? I don't know, man. If you die once and then you have to start all the way in the beginning, I don't think I'm ever going to. It's like Jump King, right? If you make one wrong move, you could go all the way to the beginning. And, I'm not ready for that. It's like 40 minutes. So, you're saying that someone who's good at this game can complete the whole boss rush in one stream. Is that what you guys are saying? My record is 35. Oh my god. What? So that's less than 1 minute per boss. The earlier bosses, I could probably see that if you're already strong, endgame strong. The earlier bosses will probably be super easy. But the later bosses, are you sure? Or get to the radius. Yeah, I grind the F of this challenge. Oh my gosh. So how long did you grind? Full power, no rhythm.
The knight finally comes face to face with the absolute radiance. A stronger, more enhanced version of the game's final boss.
It's worse?
Finally, the stage is set. After roughly 40 minutes of intense agony and tedious boss battles.
See, even this guy says roughly 40 minutes. So this thing takes 40 minutes for someone who's experienced. A minute or two per boss. Ooh. Fun fact, there's not only all bosses are the hard versions of the bosses, more life harder arena. I don't know, chat. I think if the Radiance itself took, I think it was 5 or 6 streams for me to defeat, I think this God Gauntlet or whatever it's called is going to take me another year. Except for 3 days to beat the final, it's hard. Also, keep in mind, I am not a gamer. I do not have gamer instincts. I only play story-based game and puzzle-based games.
The knight has finally reached the ultimate enemy, responsible for the destruction of Halonest. Truly, this will be a battle for the ages.
But is this the real Radiance? In this scenario, in this storyline, is this the real Radiance that the God-Seekers have called out of the Hollow Knight, sealed within the Black Egg, and into their arena? Is this real, or is this just, like, the projection of all the bosses, and therefore slightly different? Yes, is the true Radiance primary the absolute Radiance?
Oh, Menderbug. As it turns out,
Menderbug
he's
is
still
back.
alive when the knight arrives in Halonest, and he's still fulfilling his duty after all this time.
Oh, he's so
Let's take
cute.
one last look at his diary.
My lovely diary. Someone's gone and broke my favorite sign, right there at the top.
It's
of
called
the
Absolute
crossroads.
Radiance? Oh.
Keeps happening too. But you know, I just can't get mad about it. I should be thanking them, really. More chances to fix that beautiful, complex sign. And I've stocked up on spare parts, so I've no fear it'll ever stay broken for long.
Unfortunately, the only way to ever read the Menderbug's diary is to kill him in cold blood. I'm not sure why Team Cherry thought this was necessary, but the general consensus on Reddit is that they are bloodthirsty warmongers, so it checks out. But at least Menderbug's last moments will be spent fixing one of his
There he is! There's that boy! I don't actually, but I guess they're just projections. Also, to beat the true challenge, you need to beat all the bosses with 4 marks, 1 spell slot, no charms, 75% less damage in your nail paint. What? There's extra stuff? You can't... What do you mean 4 masks? How do you do 4 masks? Do you just have to get rid of them, or do you just never... Are you sure?
favorite signs in the Forgotten Crossroads. It's comforting to think that his final seconds of consciousness were
This
spent
thing where
in
you have to
total
beat them
bliss
normally and then beat them,
before
they
we
do
sent
2
him
times
hurtling
damage and
into the
hit this.
infinite chasm that is oblivion. Well, anyways, the alternate fight between the Knight and the Radiance plays out differently than in the vanilla ending. This time around, the Knight is not accompanied by any shades. Instead, after defeating the Radiance, the Knight seems to transform into this monstrosity.
What?
Now this creature goes by many names. The God of Gods, the Lord Shade, the Devourer, the Void Entity.
I'm the
But I don't
Devourer,
really like
Chad.
any
I
of
devour
those,
you.
So I will just call him Bill.
Bill!
Bill proceeds to completely annihilate the Radiance in spectacular
Bill Nye the
fashion.
Science Guy.
We are then treated to the Embrace the Void ending. Bill comes back down from the sky, dropping into the rest of Godhome. The Godseeker starts to get pulled into Bill by void tendrils. We then cut to the Godseeker in the junk pit, Void starts leaking out of her eyes, and it appears as though Bill is making an escape back into the real world, which is probably a bad thing? Finally, we see Hornet standing outside of the black egg as the infection begins to disappear from nearby vines. Hornet hears footsteps coming from inside the black egg as the Hollow Knight reveals itself to her and the two prepare for combat. So from this cutscene, we can see that the Radiance's death in
What?
Godhome actually did kill her for real.
Oh, what? It was so satisfying to kill it. Okay. So are we the Lord Shade? But the last challenge, absolute radiance and radiance difficulty, 1 hit and you die. What? You have to do no hit for the absolute radiance? Okay. So the bosses, even though they're projections inside the Godseeker's mind, they do kill them in real life. Even though I guess the Godseekers saw the radiance, but we didn't see the radiance, and they saw the radiance in an absolute form, and that's why it's a different radiance than the vanilla ending. But by killing that absolute radiance, somehow real radiance is dead, and the Hollow Knight is no longer bound, and then he comes out of the black egg. But then that means he's sane, right? He doesn't need to do anything anymore, so why is he fighting Hornet? 8 hours of my life there. So it is less than 30-40 minutes. Don't lie. After 40 minutes fighting that thing and all the bosses, when I saw that button hit, ooh boy, did I. Bam, bam, bam. That, me too. But at least you beat it, right? They're following them, so they tune using the power. Oh.
Meaning that the infection over Hallownest is now gone. This means the seals inside of the black egg probably wore off, allowing the Hollow Knight to escape its prison. In other words, the Embrace the Void ending is a goddamn cliffhanger, and we have no idea how Team Cherry plans to follow this up. The Hollow Knight is running loose in Hallownest, and the Knight has transformed into a raging void monster that might try to destroy the entire kingdom, or at least what's left of it. What's even more strange about this ending is that the announced sequel, Hollow Knight Silksong, doesn't seem to be related to this ending at all. But that's a whole different shit show. Obviously,
Well, yeah, because now we know that Silksong's a prequel, right? We still need to beat at 2 times damage and then hitless is my last 2. Ah! 8 hours to beat the no-hit and 15 to 18 for the boss rush. 15 to 18 hours or 15 to 18 minutes? Well, the Radiance isn't like physically in the world, it lives in the dream, so unaliving the Radiance and Godseek dream isn't different from beating it. Oh, you're right, because they're both in dreams. That makes sense. You mean Silk Post? Oh, hours? Okay. So it is a really long time. Oh boy. There's no way I'm gonna be able to do no hit. There's no way. I could barely do normal.
The biggest mystery surrounding this ending is the appearance of Bill.
Bill!
Did this creature exist in the void already? Or was it somehow willed into existence by the power of the Godseekers? Did the Knight turn into this thing, or did it just become a part of it? Examining a statue of this creature and other forms of the Knight grant the player a Hunter's Journal entry for an ancient artifact called the Void Idol, which might imply this creature might have been worshipped by the ancient civilization. But again, that's pure speculation. We don't know what this worship of Void exactly looked like.
Where was that statue? I guess you can't see the statue until you get to the Godseeker's path. But yeah, I've never seen that. Bill size for the triangle guy? No, I guess I'm a little older than that. My Bill is Bill Nye the Science Guy. Not a normal grind. Does it get good or nothing? Godhome? Okay. So yeah, I've never been here.
Maybe the void they worship took the form of something more sinister.
Yeah, that's why I said to you not even try. Yeah.
Monster, though, it's weak to flowers.
Weak to flowers.
These things. As it turns out, those
That's not flowers. That's just flour.
delicate flowers that Zamir has stockpiled up her ass are actually useful for something.
Okay. Now we know her butthole smells very good. Because flowers.
They contain a strange power that even deters the White Lady from touching one. The
Ooh.
Godseeker, however, is dumb enough to accept a flower from the night. If the player does this, instead of Void being released out into the world, this flower pulls a no you, and the Godseeker and Void disappear into thin air. The flower itself is described as giving off a pale light, which appears to connect it to the pale beings. Like I said before, pale beings appear to be some form of top-tier gods. As of right now, we are only aware of two, the Pale King and the White Lady. But the
Before
fact
you
that
ask,
we
we
have
don't
brought
know.
these pale flowers from a faraway land implies that there are definitely more of them out there. Another small hint of the existence of
I have to
pale
take
beings
one of the
are
flowers
pale
down there
ore
too.
items that can
Yeah.
be found all over Hallownest. Did these come from the Pale King?
Wow.
Or possibly some other pale being? And what exactly
Wow.
are they? Are they poop? In general,
Oh, no. Those things look like eggs. Like the egg that we see our reflection on in the abyss. These are the eggs for the hollow vessels. But the one in the abyss is cracked. Like it's like jagged cracked, and you can see the ribbing coming out as like almost bone rib-like structure. In the egg that was in the bottom of the abyss, which means, oh my gosh, I'm getting this. Big brain time. That the White Lady didn't just lay her eggs in the abyss where most of them were. She also laid eggs outside of the abyss, like all these places where you find the pale whatchamacallit, these things. And then that's how there's vessels, void vessels outside of the abyss. Even though the Pale King sealed off the abyss early, that does not mean that these eggs were also sealed. They were outside the abyss to begin with. Yes. Then the ending have you to beat all the bosses without getting hit at all? Yes. And so, just because there's eggs outside of the abyss, the hollow vessels, like you see all the dead bodies and all that, was able to get out of Hallownest.
the pale being.
I think
And what
that's a bug
exactly
iron. What's a
are they?
bug iron?
Are they poop? In general, the Godmaster endings appear to be doing a lot of setup for future Hollow Knight content. Like I said before, Hollow Knight Silksong doesn't seem to connect these events on the surface, so we are in a bit of a bind when trying to discuss what these endings actually mean for the greater narrative Team Cherry's
Oh my gosh,
building.
there's so much footage
There's
for
definitely a lot more to
Silksong.
consider about what the
And
pale
or
beings
as far as I know.
are
Oh.
and what properties they possess. And we also have plenty of questions surrounding the Void and how bugs eventually
Yeah, like what is this? Where do you see this? Like, if you are the player character and you see this, how do you see it as a big beast then? After the player character becomes the big beast. Because then you don't have a body to come here. Is it just like a cutscene where they show the big beast replacing the player character statue at the end? As far as we know, but we don't have any ideas. No. Dreamnail, a dream seeker in the dump, beat all the bosses. That's so much.
interacted with it
In the dump!
past. It almost feels like we're looking through a keyhole, trying to grasp onto the totality of Team Cherry's creation. How powerful are creatures like Bill and the worms?
Bill!
Where did things like the Void even come from to begin with?
Yeah.
How much bigger is the world beyond Hallownest?
Yeah.
Is Bardoon into butt stuff?
What?
But of course,
Oh, right! He's the one where we tickled his taint! And he would, every single time we hit his taint. And then we figured out it was his butt. And we're like, so he's into butt stuff? When you smack his tail, we smack his taint.
of course, that's the appeal of a game like Hollow Knight. Having all of the answers to every question would just ruin the mystery of the world.
True.
Plus, if we didn't have questions like this to waste our time on, then what else would we be doing with our lives?
But also, like, these things, these skulls right here, they're hollow vessels, aren't they? They're hollow vessel skulls. So they're using the skulls of the queen, the pale queen, as decoration. That's how many they were. And as a worm, as far as we know, not a worm or a worm. Yeah.
Go outside? Ugh.
Ugh.
And so this video comes to an end. Now I know the average attention span of a YouTube viewer is 9 minutes. So
No,
let me
it's
leave you
1
with a
minute
few
now.
Takeaways. 1.
Actually, it's 15 seconds now because of shorts and shorts retention. It's like 5 to 15 seconds. That's the attention span. But this was made 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, the attention span of a YouTube watcher was 9 minutes. Because Zote exists and we know it's not a vessel. Zote's not a vessel? What is he?
Hollow Knight is a game about bugs. I know this may come as a shock, but it's true. Watch the video again.
Oh,
and
look
this
at him.
time, pay attention. You'll notice right away, I promise.
What?
2.
What was that?
Come as a 1. Hollow Knight is a game about bugs. I know this may come as a shock,
But I already knew
it's
that.
True.
It is a
Watch
game
the
about
video
bugs.
again, and this time,
A random
pay
guy?
attention.
Would you like to see the
You'll
past
notice right
ending
away,
and fill
I
my heart
promise.
with emotions? Maybe.
Murdering your own babies might not be such a good idea after all. I mean, this is obviously just my interpretation of the game's lore. Other people might have different views on the subject of murdering babies, and every opinion is valid, so I don't—
Every opinion is valid? Are you sure, Mr. Mossbag, sir? That every opinion about murdering babies is valid? We don't talk about the secrets of boss. I hate that. Oh
I don't want to
no.
step on anyone's toes or anything. 3. Menderbug is fucking dead.
No! I mean, I didn't kill him, but no!
4. Nothing is certain. This video probably has a few flaws in it. Trying to construct a cohesive narrative with the information found in Hollow Knight isn't exactly straightforward. I'm sure my
The golden
views will
statue
change
not
in
worth
the
my pain.
future, and I encourage you to explore the lore yourself. 5. And this last point is fairly obvious, but I should mention it anyway. Cory in the House is the best anime.
Yeah, and I only fought like twice and never more. Oh my gosh. What the heck? What does that mean? He brought it back? Yes. That in the comedy world is called a callback. You need 50 to get the golden statue in the other secret boss. Oh my gosh, there's so much extra content that the creators made, and most, like 90% of the people who play this game will never see it, will never find out. That is so wild. Wait, he's beatable. He's beatable? What? Oh man. I mean, the Zotes, plural, are beatable? No, but you need to kill 50. What? There's more than one Zote? What? Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh, sevens to deucets, and your time, your free time is going to be completely occupied by killing Zotes. Oh man. Oh gosh, it's already 10:30. I had one more video lined up, but it's by the same guy, and it's actually just this one, which is correcting my Hollow Knight lore mistakes, which was uploaded 3 weeks ago. But it's already 10:30 and we don't have time. I'll watch this off stream. I think we got a general idea of the lore, and it's so complex. I'm sure there's from an hour to 16 minutes. Yeah, apparently he's right most of the time, and his mistakes are only 16 minutes long. So he didn't get a lot of things wrong, as far as I know. But I bet there's quite a lot of things. Just like Dark Souls, right? There's a lot of lore that's of like specific characters. Even the side characters have secret lore, and they have secret history that you can find in a lot of just the reading and diary and item descriptions and whatnot, and item placements and whatnot. But this is just like a general thing. Their general lore of Hollow Knight, I think I kind of understand, despite all the questions. If I want the entire run of the last Pantheon, but it's 40 minutes. Good luck! Good luck! I give you my luck for now. Because I do need it for Pokemon TCG in about like 4 days, because the new the new packs are coming out in Pokemon TCG. I need to do that. So you can only have my luck for 4 days. Okay, let's go to the beach, cause there's no way. I need you. This is what I need. You need to get good at Hollow Knight even more. Let's go. Let's go to the beach. No. Quick question: we can post thing about Hollow Knight now in the Discord. Put a spoiler tag on it so that other people who haven't played Hollow Knight don't get spoilered. Just put like normally Hollow Knight spoiler : and then spoiler tag the rest of the thing so people don't have to click it. Good to know. Yes. Did anyone submit anything for the questions? Doesn't look like it, so it's fine. No one has favorite tidbits of the Hollow Knight lore, so we could just end the Q&A. I'll go dig on some more. I'll go dig at who is the person that you were talking about, Deucet? Mila? I'll go look into her, I guess. There was a Q&A, yeah, at the top of the thing. There was a Q&A where you can ask questions, and I could have answered them. But I was asking about what's your favorite lore tidbit, and you could have, submitted stuff, and I could have read them. But oh well, Daman didn't notice. No worries. Good luck to you if I remember ending. Yes, I will remember. I only want to know when Silk Song, but I don't know you have the answer. Nope, I don't know. I do not have the answer. I am not a secret. I'm not a secret Team Cherry spy. So, anyways, thank you to my tier 3 members, Benjamin Wyatt, Charter Darby, Baba the Great, MDKV MK2, and oh gosh, and Acer of P. There we go. Also the carnival bugs, but we don't talk about the city. True. Maybe I should go back once and play through the oh, the BGM's too loud now. Play through the troop. The Grim troop, maybe? That sounds fun. Maybe I'll do one more Hollow Knight stream for that. Let us go to the to see what am I coming at? What are we doing? Oh yeah, raiding! We're going to raid. We're gonna go see who we can raid. The music of the Grim Troop and God Home. I am not doing God Home. You just go through like the whole, you have to beat like bajillion bosses, you have to do all these things, then you have to go oh, the transform thing, did it stop working? Because that happens at night. Oh, it's broken. Nah. There's more cool stuff to do? Yeah. Maybe I'll just do one more stream. I don't know. Let's see who we are raiding. Who we raiding? Oh, I haven't raided Radiance in a while. She's live. Let's see if how long she's been going. 40 minutes is something else. Oh, okay, maybe then. She's still going? Okay, good. So we will. Oh, she's going. Cool. So our raid message is Gumi's raiding the Radiance. That's true. It's very topical, except for different Radiance. This Radiance is a cat, an herbal cat. Gumi is to raid. Get your nails ready. Oh, that's. Oh. Gumi is. Raid. There we go. Good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. What am I doing tomorrow? Oh, I'm starting the Somnium Files. So hopefully I'll see you guys here, at least to see, because it's my first time playing that game. So we'll see you there for tomorrow's stream. Bye bye.